Welcome back to the Name Redacted podcast, America's most beloved podcast, the most downloaded Red Sox podcast in the world. The Red Sox have swept the Toronto Blue Jays in a 4-game series. They're not in last place anymore. They're not in 4th place anymore.
What place?
They have jumped up to 3rd place after winning their 6th straight baseball game. Not only that, Masataka Yoshida has a 14-game hitting streak. Tyler, one more time. Again, Tyler. The Boston Red Sox have already eclipsed their win total from last year against these same Toronto Blue Jays that Alex Cora told you himself. That's the team that kept you out of the postseason last year. If you won more games against the Blue Jays, maybe you would have been in October last year. You played them 4 times already this year. How many games did they lose, Tyler? Hold on one more time. How many times did they fucking lose to the Blue Jays in this series? 0 times, Tyler. And then we have Jake, steady as ever, dropping the prediction of all time. Jake, our very own Jake, said, you know what? They're not going to win 1 game in this series. They're not going to win 2 games in this series. I'm the fucking idiot that said that they were... One more time, Tyler, one more time.
Again!
I said I'm the idiot that said they were going to win 3 games. How many games did they win, Jake?
They won 4 games, Jared.
They won 4 games against these Toronto Blue Jays. Were they able to contain Vladdy Jr.? No, they weren't, but that was just an audition for when he becomes a free agent in 2 years and he can mash home runs at Fenway Park for the Boston Red Sox. He already hates the Yankees. It's a perfect fit for Fenway Park. One more fucking time. One more fucking time, Tyler, because I have a massive announcement to add to the Name Redacted podcast legacy, because we are fucking drizzling ketchup on this podcast after a 4-game sweep. We got ketchup coming out the wazoo. So much ketchup that
in the
we
sauce.
can't handle it. We can't handle all the fucking ketchup, Tyler. Jake, one more fucking time, please.
Yes.
We can't handle the amount of ketchup that's about to be drizzled during this podcast. So we enlisted the help of some experts. We are expanding the voting panel for the Klark's Ketchup Series MVP. Please welcome Merloni, Will Fleming, Tom Caron, and he hasn't answered my text yet, but maybe Kevin Youkilis. He might answer. I'm going to call Will Middlebrooks. We're expanding. One last time. We're expanding the Klark's Ketchup Series MVP voting panel so that we have all the names, all the experts, all the people that are locked in, so that we can give you the best voting panel for any series MVP sponsored by a ketchup company in the history of Boston Red Sox baseball. That's a big announcement. That is a big announcement. I'm very happy to bring you the new one. I'm sweating. I've already lost my voice. We're 3-ish. That was the longest positivity horn I think we've ever had to open a show.
We could have gone for 10 minutes there. Let's be real.
We really could have, and we're gonna go. I mean, we're gonna be talking about this series. I feel like we may be welcoming in some new listeners. If you're new to the podcast, welcome. We talk about the Red Sox on this show. That's Tyler and Jake. We are a Red Sox podcast, America's most beloved podcast for those keeping score at home. We talk about the Red Sox after every single series that they complete. And if you didn't know, when the Red Sox win a series, Klark's Ketchup was generous enough. They started sponsoring the segment a few years back, and they've hung in with us to hand out a ketchup bottle to the best player from each Red Sox series. And people are buzzing in the streets right now about the Klark's Ketchup Series MVP after a 4-game sweep of the Toronto Blue Jays.
I had to step out. I was losing control during this last game, and it was a little bit of a roller coaster for a second, right? When Bayo was getting touched up a little bit, I think everyone was like, all right, let's just breathe. I think everyone was on top of the moon. But once they added those insurance runs, I started tweeting about ketchup. I tweeted fucking hashtags out. That's how you know I'm deep in it, that I'm feeling it, that I'm passionate, that I'm excited. And I know I relapsed. It wasn't perfect, but that's what's going on right now. I haven't been happy in so long. First time I've been happy since June of last year. and we could sit here and smile for a bit. We could sit here be excited about the Red Sox.
Mm-hmm.
It's been a long fucking time coming.
Mm-hmm.
Months of the positivity horn building up to this moment.
Yeah. This is it's a golden moment, Jake. I'd love to hear from you because you're the star of the show today, correctly predicting a 4-game sweep of the Blue Jays. I will share a little tidbit before we hear from Jake, because I was down on the field on Monday before the beginning of the series, and I saw Bo Bichette on the field. And I've gotten to know him a little bit over the last 3 years. We connected at first when I did the rock, paper, scissors series during quarantine. And I saw him down on the field and I was like, man, I feel like your offense is going to throat fuck us this series. I said that. That's a direct quote. And I used the term throat fuck. I said, I don't think that this park holds your righty bats well. He went 5 for 5 that night, so I wasn't wrong. He went 5 for 5 and hit a 3-run bomb, I believe, in the first inning. But ultimately, it didn't matter. It did not matter, which was very, I don't want to say surprising to me. It was a pleasant surprise, if surprising at all. But when you talk about the 2023 Boston Red Sox on a negative scale, or more, I guess it's realistic because it's not subjective. It's an objective fact that their rotation has not been very good. Some would say the worst. But to go up against that lineup, they essentially, without looking, because I'm trying to remember from what was just on like the Nesson post game, they have what 3 of the top hitters in the league, like in terms of like guys who have hits. I think it's like Vladdy, Bo, and Chapman.
Yeah, Chapman's been ridiculous, so he makes sense. We saw Bo, what he's been doing, and Vladdy's Vladdy.
Where was Chapman in this series offensively? Like Vladdy hit a couple bombs. Bo went off in the first game. They contained Matt Chapman, who's been one of the best hitters in the league this year to start. But man, it felt, it didn't give me playoff vibes. You know what I mean? Like, it didn't give me playoff vibes watching the series. But when you went into game 4 and Kevin Gausman was on the mound, first of all, the Toronto Blue Jays as a team have given you fits for the last 2 years. They just beat your fucking brains in. Last year, we know what happened with the 28-5 game. The Blue Jays as a team have given you fits. But then in the finale, it's like, man, it feels good to take the series, but Kevin Gausman's going in the finale and, you know, he shoves it up our ass every single time. So I can at least sit back and watch the series finale knowing at least we won the series. Whatever, if they win, great. But like, if they lose, all right, it's fine. Still won the series. Not only did they beat the Blue Jays in the series finale, they fucking kicked the shit out of Kevin Gausman. And it's not like anyone had any, it's not like anyone was looking up the Red Sox offense being like, oh, well, you know, they're okay. No, I think we would all acknowledge the Red Sox offense is pretty good. But
would you like to hear how good, Jared?
Please.
Entering today, 3rd in batting average, 4th in OBP, 4th in slugging, 3rd in OPS, 3rd in runs, 5th in homers, 3rd in weighted on base average, and 3rd in weighted runs created plus. That was going in today before they hung 11 on the Blue Jays. Hung 11, you know, with Alex Verdugo being sick and not playing today as well. The guy who's been really the best player on the team all season long. That's what this lineup did. We're talking about a lineup that going into tonight, Rafael Devers, he's been scuffling a bit. Broke out in a big way. Big homer, big double. Tristan Casas breaking out this series. He's been cold.
Knocks.
Like, we're watching Masataka Yoshida, who has a 950 OPS. Hey.
For real?
I remember them. Didn't they laugh at those projections when Fangraphs and everybody was putting them out? They clowned on those?
Yeah.
Did Chaim Bloom really just have the signing of the offseason after executives laughed at him, clowned on him, called it one of the worst signings? Couldn't believe you gave him $90 million? What the fuck does that look like? Pull up the Baseball Savant page. It's all red. It's red everywhere. Loud contact, shooting the ball all over the field. Massive series for Chaim.
We're going to get to that. We're going to get to the Chaim tongue bath. But before we do that, we got to give Jake his shine. Jake, you nailed it. It's almost like you knew. It's almost like you just saw the pitching matchups. We did the stop and shop look ahead, and you wiped your ass with it. It was very impressive.
Take me through the thought process and what you were feeling going into Game 4. Did you feel like you had it in the bag? What was your whole take on it?
I mean, honestly, when I went out there and I picked the sweep, like what I was envisioning in my head is just exactly what they did. Like they just went out there and they fucking swept.
Yeah, they did. They really did. It was quite impressive. I saw Jake posted a video after the game. People are loving it. People want more Jake content. Man, I feel validated. It feels good to be wrong. I mean, to pick 3 out of 4 and look like an idiot, I'm fine with that. But
hand up, I picked 2. I picked a split. You want to talk about being a fucking loser?
You're a moron.
I am a moron. I'm an idiot. Now, this moron / idiot has more, overall wins this year in terms of series picks, but I'll take it.
Well, it's okay. It's okay to be wrong. I'm wrong with you too.
I want to be wrong. This is the time to be wrong.
Mm-hmm. This is the time to be wrong. But before we jump into this little breakdown of the series, let's talk about DraftKings Sportsbook. The baseball season's in full swing. Whether you're rooting for the home team or betting on your favorite player, DraftKings Sportsbook has got you covered for all this season's action. And right now, new customers can place a $5 bet and get $150 in bonus bets instantly. Plus, everyone can hit one out of the park with DraftKings stepped-up same-game parlays. Boost your winnings with each leg you add up to 100%. Join the big league action now on the DraftKings Sportsbook. Download the app, sign up with the promo code Jared, Jared. New customers can bet just $5 on any bet and get $150 in bonus bets instantly only at the DraftKings Sportsbook with promo code Jared. It's a 4-game series. I feel like a lot of fans' minds right now are on the finale, as is in most cases. We're going to build up to that. Let's go back to the beginning. Let's go back to Monday. It feels like forever ago. That the Red Sox went out there and won a 6-5 ball game. This game started off nice with a 2-0 advantage in the first inning. And if you're sitting there thinking, I don't even remember who started that game, it was Corey Kluber. And the Klubot went 5 1/3, 5 hits, 3 earned, 4 walks, which again, like we're still talking about walks of Corey Kluber. Like what the fuck's going on there? But 7 strikeouts, did give up a home run. But I'm going to ask you this, Tyler. Where the fuck did Joey Botafuco come from? Like this was a waiver claim, but now he's turning into a guy that we're like, get Botafuco in there. Like what the fuck? Like he's a guy. He's turning into a guy.
For people that don't speak name redacted, since we probably do have a lot of new people listening, Brendan Bernardino is who we're referring to, the 40-man pickup. Coming from Seattle, and he's been nothing short of incredible. He's straight gone out there and 0 ERA, the FIP's below 2 easily. Gave you an inning today, ended up going out for an extra batter, but ended up walking him. I think it's the first walk he had given up. He struck out 5. This guy has kind of stepped into that Richard Blyer role and carried you. When you didn't have another guy in Joely Rodriguez, who is making a rehab appearance today, looked okay, but the velo was down. This guy has stepped up. For a while, and I think one of the main criticisms people had on Heim this offseason was, well, he's spending on relievers. He wasn't supposed to do that. Well, here he is getting you a very functional reliever after the lower leverage innings. What did Cora say a week ago? He was concerned. This guy, he's came out and put those fires out, giving you that bridge to the Schreibers, the Winkowskis, the Chris Martins. Kenley's been out, but eventually that. What more can you ask for? That is a massive find for this front office. And I think he's the kind of guy you can, play around a little bit with here as guys get healthy, but you need arms like this on the 40-man.
Feels good to be a Botafuco guy. That's all I got to say.
Now, let me ask you, with Kluber, how did you feel coming out of this start? Because while he got through, I felt like it was a step in the wrong direction.
I don't want to say it was a step in the wrong direction. I feel like I got away with one. Like it feels like you sent a guy out there expecting, I don't want to say the worst, but not good results. And I feel like you got away with one. It was not his best start. The bar is very low. But
let's be real. He was coming off a 6 innings, 1 run against the Orioles where he looked like Corey Kluber, like what Kluber's supposed to be. You're not supposed to miss bats. Go get me those easy contact grounders and let's go home with no walks.
Yeah.
The 4 walks, he's up from 3% last season. It's 9.2 right now. He's legit tripled his walk rate.
And I expect that to come down, though. I don't think that it's, this is the new Corey Kluber where he's a little wild and he's not in the zone as much. I think as the season goes on, because we did have this conversation about, are they going to designate Corey Kluber for assignment? Are they going to put him in the bullpen? No, I think they're going to ride it out and hope for the best. And I do expect the walks per 9 to come down. I do think that, that's been the larger sample, AKA his entire big league career, which is what, like a decade at this point. That has been the larger sample where it shows you like this guy, he's not pinpoint control, but like he's not a walks guy. Like this is an aberration. And I'm slightly getting a more positive outlook on Kluber. Not that this was a stellar start for him, but he went out there and pitched into the 6th. And to go up against that lineup and only give up 3 earned runs when clearly there was traffic with the 4 walks and the 5 hits, but he pitched out of it. Like there's very limited damage. You tell me Corey Kluber pitches into the 6th and only gives up 3 earned runs against that lineup. I'm happy with that. I'm not happy about the walks, but if you're able to pitch through it, no complaints from me.
Yeah, he got the job done, and that is the most important thing here. I will say for those who are on that get Corey Kluber out of here, or what could get him kicked out of the rotation, this will get him kicked out before anything. If he does keep up these walks and these are a problem, and whether you want to attribute it to the pitch clock, maybe you think the command has just fallen off because he's older, you want to cry and scream about Dave Bush. I know some people like to go that route as well. If there is something that will make them pull that hook somewhat quick, and it's not going to happen right now. 2 out of his last 3 starts, he's gotten the job done. But if the walks don't come down, I do feel like that's where maybe you could see Core and the Red Sox say, hey, we're not going to give you as long as a leash as you're hoping for. I want to see more of that weak contact, because if he's hoping for 7 Ks every outing, Corey Kluber is not going to live like that. That's just the reality. It's going to go bad more often than not.
Yeah, that's fair. But again, we're going to later somewhere down the line, we're going to have a conversation revisiting a previous topic, Tyler.
Oh, spare me. Don't even.
Tyler, come on.
We'll have the conversation.
You do it. Come on. Hey, come on.
Come on, what?
I mean, you're gonna bend the knee on Nick Pivetta. And listen, I don't want to hear what you. I don't want to hear what you have to say right now. I'm not interested in what you have to say right now. We'll get there, but when we get there, you're gonna bend the knee.
We'll see. We'll see where I stand.
Okay. I mean, before we continue this conversation, just say yes or no. Was it a good start?
It was fine.
I hate you.
We'll talk about it. Can we talk about something positive from that first game?
Chris Martin came back and he looked good-ish.
First outing wasn't great. Second outing, he got the job done. He looked like the Chris Martin we had hoped for, where he's striking out 2 in 1 inning.
Yeah, what did I see? I was researching. I think it was when I was looking up how much Craig Kimbrell sucks.
He really sucks. That's a Dave Dombrowski built bullpen for you.
Mm-hmm. I think I was looking up Craig Kimbrell's walks per 9 since he got traded to Chicago. So since halfway through the 2021 season, Chris Martin has the best walks per 9 of any big league reliever, minimum 75 appearances. That's pretty good.
He was the root of the pitching philosophy, right? Like we talk about why they let Ryan Brazier stay. It was like he didn't walk him. Now Ryan Brazier walks guys. Chris Martin, he's throwing strikes. What happened before the injury? He wasn't missing bats. He looks like he's missing bats. That's all you can ask for.
Mm-hmm.
What I do think was one of the, and it gets forgotten a little bit. Obviously, the end of the game is another story. What led up to the end of the game? Josh Winkowski coming in the 8th and 9th inning and really being that bridge. And Kike, listen, it was a little rough situation there. Made a great play to start that 8th inning. What happened afterwards kind of threw them in a jam. But props to Josh Winkowski for showing up and keeping you in that game so you could get off to that walk-off moment with Alex Verdugo again.
I'm sensing a trend here that I love, that I am obsessed with. Masataka Yoshida got this going in the bottom of the 1st inning with an RBI double. The motherfucker's driving it. How many RBI is he up to right now? If you have that in front of you. It's got to be, is he leading the team in RBI?
Let's pull it up. He has to be up there.
I mean, he fucking drives in 3 runs a night now.
So Yoshida entered tonight with 21 RBI.
I mean, Devers is probably a little bit more than that, but
Yoshida, I'll say Alex Verdugo's been your most consistent hitter. Yeah, Devers has 27 on the year entering tonight.
Yeah.
But
Masataka Yoshida, by the way, you mentioned it earlier, the 950 OPS. Masataka Yoshida has now taken the team lead for batting average. He's hitting 317. That leads the team. His on-base percentage is an even 400. That leads the team. His OPS is 948. That leads the team. Masataka Yoshida is leading the Red Sox in every offensive category.
It's so unreal to the point, and we talked about what kind of hitter we thought Yoshida was going to be here, right? And I think a lot of us had hoped, best case, it was going to be, 280, 290, give me 15 jacks. What you're seeing right now, he's already up to 6 homers in 27 games? The power is playing in Major League Baseball. I look at another hitter in Hideki Matsui. He had under a 700 OPS when he came over from Japan in those first 2 months in the big leagues. Do you see how quickly he's made this adjustment? It was really a bad week. He had a bad week and a half. And ever since then,
send him down to Worcester.
It was crazy. People punted on him. People were saying, oh, he's not a middle of the order guy. He is a middle of the order guy in every way. You're seeing him get put in that number 2 spot, which Devers held down a lot the last couple of years. Most teams analytically look at that as where you put your best hitter. Yoshida is right there, as dangerous as any bat on the Red Sox. And I don't expect it to change dramatically. This is such a major win for Chaim Bloom in this front office. This proves that evaluation was nails. They nailed this one. They didn't give a fuck what anybody said. They threw their money on the table and said, hey, we think this is going to be one of the biggest steals. You can laugh at us. We don't care. Look at them now.
Rafael Devers' slugging percentage after hitting a double and a homer tonight is .558. What do you think Yoshida's slugging percentage is?
I'm going to go 550, 560,
548.
There you go. It's incredible watching him hit. He's one of the most fun hitters I've ever seen just to watch, because the ball's going everywhere. He's either going to pull it into the bullpens with ease with the little flick of the wrist. He may shoot it down the left field line. He's been kissing the monster recently, becoming best friends with that. This is what you dreamed of. I don't think anybody in their wildest dreams could have pictured Yoshida doing this quickly.
No, not to this level. I mean, if you are a baseball diehard and you were sitting there watching fucking Team Japan in the World Baseball Classic, you saw it, right? He drove in more runs than anyone has ever driven in a World Baseball Classic, which is not a huge sample. It's 4 tournaments, but that's a lot of games. And Yoshida showed up and he did what he does best, and that's drive in runs. That's why when we rewind back to the Red Sox winter weekend and Alex Cora's up there flirting with the idea of leading him off, and then he walks it back. Why did he walk it back? Oh, because Yoshida's a middle of the order bat. We look at the on-base percentage. He's leading the Red Sox in on-base percentage, and he's a guy that clearly has some pop, and he has a flair for the dramatic when there's runners on base. He drives and runs. That's what you want. You want that, and he's doing it, and I'm so happy for Yoshida.
The dude doesn't have a pulse.
Dude, his fucking pants are up to his nipples! Yes! And he still is driving in runs left and right. That's all he does is drive in runs.
Higher.
Pull your pants up to your nipples, everybody. Masataka Yoshida is a fashion-forward genius. All this guy does is pull up his pants to his nipples and drive in runs. It's crazy. It's absolutely insane.
Add in the fact he's walking more than he's striking out still, just like he did in Japan. So you're not only getting the elite contact skills, you're getting the power, you're getting the plate discipline. He holds his own in left field. It's not the prettiest thing, but he makes the routine plays. It's a beautiful thing.
And you know what else is a beautiful thing?
What?
We're now joined by Lou Merloni. Just got home from calling the game in the broadcast booth. Saw it firsthand. Was at Fenway Park to see a 4-game sweep of the Toronto Blue Jays by the Boston Red Sox. And he loves the fucking pants up to the nipples. We've already discussed it. He dropped in just in time for the Masataka Yoshida discussion. Very excited to welcome you to the program, Lou Merloni. Did you hear that we've expanded the panel, the Klark's Ketchup Series MVP panel?
I'm starting to understand that. Yes. By
Yeah,
the way, and if
yeah.
you don't have your pants pulled up to your armpits, you're not a Sox fan.
That's what I'm
Period.
saying.
Kids
That
everywhere.
like you're gonna have people at Fenway Park this summer just pulling their pants up to their
Pull 'em
nipples.
up.
Every time Yoshida's up to bat, it is belts to titties all day long, driving in runs. We were going over some numbers, Lou. I don't know if you knew this because I don't want to say it was news to me. I figured he would be somewhere in there. Masataka Yoshida is now leading the Red Sox in batting average, on base percentage, and OPS.
Yeah. Yeah, and I tell you, if somebody like left this country like 3 weeks ago and you came back and said Masataka is like the best hitter in the Sox, they'd lose their mind after watching
Right.
the first 2 weeks. He's just doing what he's always done. What do you have, 5 years in a row, like 300 Japan, a batting average, 400 on base, 500 slugging. He's all over it. It's fun to watch.
Yeah, it is. I've enjoyed it an immense amount. And so you got here just in time. We kind of set the stage for the series. We're still only on Monday. Like we're a half hour into the podcast. We're on Monday right now. Because you start talking to us about Masataka Yoshida. There's only so much we can do with our self-control. We haven't even said the name. We haven't even said the name Alex Verdugo yet. Dude hit a fucking walk-off home run on Monday. Haven't even mentioned him yet. We mentioned Chris Martin and fucking Joey Botafuco before we mentioned Alex Verdugo. But that's where we're at right now. Which games? Because I last time I saw you in person was down on the field on Monday, and you can attest to the story. I said I saw Bo Bichette before the game, and I said your lineup is going to throat fuck us this series. Direct quote. Do you get frozen? Am I frozen? Am I frozen?
We lost you for a
Yeah,
second.
lost it for a second.
We lost you.
Okay.
I remember
All
what
right.
you said. It was something about throat fucking, I think, at one point.
Yeah.
And he went 5 for 5.
We went 5 for 5 with a 3-run bomb
Yeah.
in the first inning.
That's a great line.
So I was half right. He did do that, but the Red Sox still won this baseball game. From your vantage point in the booth, what was the biggest thing that stood out to you about Kluber? Because we were talking about like this guy, he's a pinpoint control guy, walked 4 batters, but he did pitch into the 6 and he limited the damage.
Yeah, I mean, for him and his job, I think he's like your 5th starter, right? Like, keep you in the game, let this offense do its thing. But the 4 walks is uncharacteristic. That one inning, was it the 2nd or 3rd, where he walks like Jansen, walks Kiermaier, and it's like, no, dude, don't do that. That lineup that night for the Blue Jays was so thin. It was 3 guys on top of the order. That was all they had. And it was like, just don't get to those guys. Like, try not to have guys on base, and he got screwed, or he screwed himself, and he got in trouble. But then he put up zeros, after that. So that's kind of all you want from him, I think, and just kind of be around the zone, throw strikes. 4 walks is not going to cut it for him. But he got off to a good start. And that's the difference. Like that, I think somebody asked Corey today, like, you won 3 straight. How's it different than last year? The difference is you'd be 1-2 after the first 3 games, because your bullpen would have freaking given it up like they did last year. And instead you won 2 one-run games, the first 2, to complete that sweep.
Yeah. Yeah. And like the other thing too that came from Monday, that was the Kike abomination game, right? Where he made like the sick play and then the next 2 were just like, so Kike set up Alex Verdugo for the walk-off. That's consideration for Clark's Ketchup. That's a good teammate right there.
And on top of it, puts the post out after. Like, that's the little stuff I think with JT and Kike this year. Like, shout out Verdugo for cleaning up the shit I left behind that I had to clean up for myself. Like, that's the 2023 Red Sox. Is it not? Like, if you don't have it tonight or you need someone to step up, I'll be the fucking hero. It's someone different almost every single night, unless you need a walk-off. Then it's Alex Verdugo.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, a lot of people that follow the Blue Jays were sort of like, I don't know what to think of this team. I keep seeing walk-offs. What are they all about? And they found out what they were about. Like tonight it was like 2 through 5 all got 3 hits. The other nights it was, 7, 8, 9 getting 2 or 3 hits. Connor Wong game. I mean, it's like, it's freaking insane. It's 1 through 9. And you know what? Wong wants to sit. Fine. Here comes Reese McGuire to put 2 hits in your ass. Like, it's just the way they do it.
Reese McGuire is the BABIP king. Like, that dude had
500?
the broken bat. Yeah, like the dude had a broken bat hit tonight where the bat goes farther than the ball. there was, I think it was last series where there was a ball in the right-handed hitter's batter's box that he just threw the head of the bat at and just flicked it into the outfield. Not a lot of hard contact with him, but he just finds grass. The dude finds grass better than anyone that I've seen since like Vladdy's dad.
Yeah.
Like, it's crazy.
We're talking 54 games, and the guy's hit, or 54 games in a Red Sox uniform. He's hitting 333.
Yeah.
Like, that's what Reese McGuire does. Just like, who would have ever imagined? And yes, is it BABIP luck? Sure. But there's a skill to just making contact and putting it in play. Alex Cora has been begging for stuff like that for years. You pair him and Wong, you have the catcher's duo or tandem that has the highest batting average in all of baseball right now.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
How many people said they were concerned about the catcher going into this year? How are they going to make it happen? Now you got an elite defender in Connor Wong, who's tied for the MLB lead in defensive run save back there. And Reese, he'll hit, and Wong will hit with some pop too.
Yeah. And the other thing about like Reese is when he came over, everyone was like, what's the deal? He's jerking off in car. Yeah. Like what's going on here with this? And then he just goes out there and gets the job done. He quietly just goes about his business. He's a professional at bat every single time. And the fact that, I don't know like how you feel about the catching tandem, Lou, but there's no clear. I mean, Connor Wong is emerging as the clear cut. Like he's the Christian Vasquez now, and Reese is the backup.
Yeah.
But when Reese is back there, you don't feel like, oh man, I wish Connor Wong was in there. It's like, oh, now it's Reese day, which means like you're going to get like 2 or 3 hits out of this guy. He's not going to throw anybody out, but he's going to get some hits.
I think the catcher situation was like the perfect example of like why it was so hard to predict who this team was. Because there was so many question marks everywhere. Like a catcher, you're like, okay, do they have a starter? Like, is McGuire a backup? Like, what's Wong? And they've come out now, and like you said, they're like catching wise. I think the most hits, extra base hits, or whatever the hell it is in baseball is the tandem. Yeah, I had somebody who I really trust who had seen Connor Wong and coached him up early in his career that basically told me, and this is like 2 years ago, like if Connor Wong isn't an everyday catcher and hits 15 to 20 bombs, then we screwed up. And the last 2 years, I've been like, I keep texting the guy. I'm like, I don't know. I don't see it. Well, the other day after that Connor Wong game, I got a text, and it was just Connor fucking Wong. That's all it said. and it's like, okay, I see the defense in the arm, and now I see the bat. So it's kind of cool.
I just looked it up. The Boston Red Sox lead Major League Baseball at the catching position and batting average. Their catchers are hitting .316. With an on-base percentage of .361, which is 5th best in the big leagues, and the OPS is .834, which is 4th best.
Nuts.
And like you throw in with Connor Wong, like the guy hit 15 homers in 81 games at AAA last year. If you hit 220 as a catcher with elite defense and you hit 15 to 20 homers, you're going to have a starting job for 10 years in this league. And people are going to be like, oh, let's ride this. This is you have one of the better catcher setups in the league. And the fact that Reese McGuire, the guy he was traded for, the skeleton himself, Jake Diekman, DFA'd 2 days ago. Sent home. We're good. We're done with him.
But
like, you want to talk about Heim? There's been trades where you can complain. That's a W for Heim.
Heim just dropped his balls on the table this week. I mean, he really did. Like, this is a huge week for him. I mean, you got nothing but Benintendi. Well, you got Winkowski, who's holding down that entire bullpen, with Jansen, and it's like, oh, what do you got for Mookie? And it's like, look what Verdugo's doing. Look what Wong is doing. Brought over Yoshida, brought in Jansen. I mean, it's like Turner. It's like off the charts. Like, it's a big week for him. You can rip him, and people have, and it's their right. God bless him. I have his times as well. But at some point, you got to, when it's going well, don't you have to sit there and say, good for you, good week, Heim, enjoy it?
Mm-hmm. Well, let me ask you a broader question then, Lou. Is this a situation where it's enjoy it while it lasts, or do you think any part of this is sustainable, and what parts are sustainable?
Well, yeah, I even said that tonight. Actually, we were talking about him. I'm just going to enjoy this right now because this lineup is just getting after it. You know what I mean? And I don't know if it's going to last, right? But then again, Raffy's not even going yet. So I don't know. Maybe it can. I think it kind of is. You got some guys coming back, too. Like, don't forget, Story's coming back. Duvall's coming back. You got guys on the IL coming back that might be able to help. Whitlock's going to come back. I don't know what this bullpen, I don't know what this rotation, to be honest with you, is going to look like in a week or two. But you got a bunch of guys that grind, man. They don't strike out. They put the ball in play. I think you could have a pretty good offense. Some of these guys will slip. Yoshida's not going to hit. He's going to go in a little bit of slump at some point, but then all of a sudden Devers gets going. No, I think it's sustainable. I always thought there's a chance they could stay in it in September, and just given what you're seeing in some of the depth, maybe even in some of the arms, I think they can. They should.
But like, if this is a stay under the luxury tax team / year, if they're in it, if they're playing this well, if they're holding a wild card spot and they don't have a ton of wiggle room in terms of what they can add payroll wise, like are we kind of setting ourselves up to where, you get to the trade deadline and this team's in it, but they can't add because they need to stay under?
Yeah, that'll piss you off for like the third year in a row, right? Like it's just that emotion that'll piss you off. And these are the times you need to remember, like how nobody gave us any shot at all. 78.5. Everybody had you fifth in the division. Some people fourth who were optimistic. And you go out there and play your ass off, and you go out there and overperform to some people. And at the deadline, you're like, okay, give us a little bit of help. Give us that guy. Give us that guy or two. And if it doesn't happen, that's infuriating. You know what I mean? That's what gets you people emotional and upset. So hopefully they play themselves in a position to where they deserve it. I always think it's up to you. Mm-hmm. You go out there and play well, you deserve it. I'll go help you out.
That's my fear, though, is that I think they will deserve it. And I mean, we're being told like we can't add.
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, we'll see what it looks like, because remember, you got a lot of guys like, a lot of these young guys in this roster that to me like are going to be here in the future. Like, I think if you do this year, you can't go into next year. I know Raffy kind of kicks in, which makes it really hard too. But I don't know. Listen, you're the Red Sox. I don't want to hear about that. Like, this whole compensation stuff and everything else. They should have been under last year. That was probably the biggest mistake. The biggest mistake of the 2022 roster of the season was not getting under last year. So you could comfortably go over this year if you wanted to.
Yep. To put a bow on Monday, here's the Nesson call.
1-1. Oh, there's a shot. Driven out to right. Did he do it again? Yes, he did! Yes, he did! Doogie wins it!
I will say this. OB's been on his game this year.
He's
been on his game. He's having a year. He is.
It's a good call.
It's a good call. Is. Yep. OB's been on his bullshit this year. You got to give him props. There have been some moments this season that have called for a dramatic call, and he's been there for it. So props to OB for that. And I'm not just saying that because I was sitting next to him in the booth on Tuesday night, Lou. Huh? I was up there fucking calling the ones and twos up there on Tuesday night. Got my 3 outs. Took my act on the road. I was like, thank you very much. I'm not a multi-inning guy. And that felt good. It felt good to get that
ERA down to what? What is it, 12? Did we do the math? What is it now?
I think it's 12, yeah.
Brian Brazier level.
I mean, small sample size. The season's still early. You know how relievers go, when it's like you give up 4 bombs in your first 2 appearances. It kind of fucks your ERA for like the next 3 months. But I'll get it down.
Oh, boy.
I'll get it down. It was genuine excitement from Kevin Youkilis, which I did appreciate. I was this close to being in the booth for, what was it, like a 6-run frame?
Yeah, next inning, right?
Oh my God, yeah, it was. The very next inning, the Blue Jays scored 6 runs. Could you imagine if that was I would have left. I swear to God. The second that they scored the first run, I would have taken off my headset and been like, go watch Like a Pro on Nesson 360. Thank you. I'm out of here. And I would have fucking left. There's no chance I would have stayed in there for all 6 runs. Absolutely not.
I wish that happened so bad.
Can't do it. I mean, like,
dude, you would have thrown yourself out the window. There's no way.
I mean, I would have walked to the back because I wouldn't want to fall into the net. I would have jumped off the back of the ballpark. There's no way I would have stayed in there for 6 earned runs. I was gone. I was like, listen, this has nothing to do with me. I fully accept responsibility for the first 2 appearances, 2 home runs in each of those. And that, thank God. People, because Red Sox fans and sports fans in general, people actually believe that there is a correlation between things like that and things happening on the field. Like, you think that they're joking. They're not.
Absolutely.
But these people genuinely believe if I were in the booth for those 6 earned runs, people would have been genuinely angry. the listenership of this podcast would have fucking plummeted. People would be like, no, fuck that guy. He's the
Are
guy
you
that
sure
gets
that
some
your like
runs.
stank of didn't cause that like an inning later?
I mean,
This is an interesting take.
it is an interesting take, but like I'll even admit I was gone. I was by the time those runs were scoring, I was on Starro Drive already. So
The
Yeah, it wasn't
relief when you texted me, Jared, saying thank God, like it was the most genuine, like my prayers have been answered. I could go home and sleep peacefully tonight.
yeah. And if you go back to Tuesday, right? Like you won the first game. You feel like you got away with one because the errors by Kike led to 2 runs in the top of the 8th, and you get Alex Verdugo at the plate. And I know we're all thinking it, but we're not actually believing it. It's kind of like, yeah, like Verdugo's the walk-off guy. Of course, he's going to do something big here. He hits the walk-off home run. You don't need to burn relievers. Like that was big. Like Verdugo hitting the walk-off home run in the 9th. So you're not just throwing relievers out there when you got to go toe-to-toe with the Blue Jays in a 4-game series. That can't be understated. But the very next night, when not me, someone else gave up 6 runs in the 5th, you're kind of looking at that being like, all right, 6-3. Their bats are kind of waking up. Like we didn't expect them to be dormant this whole time. The Red Sox held them to 6. That was it. They had a 1-inning spurt, and that was it. They came back and won the game 7-6.
Yeah, I actually think that 2 runs they got right after that 6 runs they gave up was huge, right? To get it back to 6-5, to let them know they're kind of in this thing. But, the Blue Jays, to me, it's like, I think when they rolled in here, I was like, I think this is the best team in the American League. And the rotation struggled the first time through, but the last 2 times through, the rotation's been fantastic. Gossman, Manoah, everybody's been throwing the ball much better. And they just shit down their throats, like in this series. It was absolutely fantastic. Their bullpen. Swanson's been great. Romano's been great. They both gave it up. This lineup, the more I looked at it, though, I'm like, it's kind of thin. It's kind of top-heavy. So I think they're a good team. Maybe not as good, but I think the Red Sox just played great. But that 2 runs they got after that 6, I think to make it 6-5 was huge.
Yeah. Because then they didn't score again until the 8th.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Who was that? Let me make a note of that for MVP consideration. This was Christian Arroyo homered to get that going. Rob Refsnyder, the lefty slayer, I believe had 2 RBI knocks in that. That was another game that Yoshida homered in.
It was Wong's homer at that point that put them ahead, right?
Yes. Yeah, because then Yoshida had the base hit to make it 6-5, and then Wong tied it with the home run, and then he homered again to give them a lead. And there was one double that he hit off the wall that was a home run in 29 other ballparks.
Yeah, actually, I think that, because like the last home run, I think was just a straight Fenway homer, right? Like moonshot that got over. So we kind of...
Yeah, it was like 3 out of 30 or something
one.
like that.
The 8th inning to tie it.
Yeah, so we got screwed off of one, and then I think he got a little gift, a Fenway gift on another. So it all equaled out. That was the Connor Wong game. It was fantastic.
We just got a text in the group text from Coley, and he said, "Where the fuck is the ketchup?"
Oh my God.
Yeah, he is itching for some ketchup. He's hurting for a squirtin', as they say. All right, so that's Tuesday, the Connor Wong game. Shout out to Connor Wong. I mean, by the way, like Connor Wong, I think that was a guy that no one was talking about coming into the season. Like there were some younger guys like you don't
listen,
count. You're a fucking cyborg. Like
Mr. Jared Carabas. No, Jared Carabas. I need Jorge Alfaro, who can't even catch. He is hurting the pitchers at AAA right now. Spare me on that garbage right now. I don't want Jorge Alfaro near this team right now.
You know what? Jorge Alfaro, back in spring training, you could not deny the vibes. Like he was a guy that you looked at him and you were like, I need that energy on this team. When there was so much negativity surrounding the team, you're just like, listen, we need that moss. We need the vibe. And listen, Reese McGuire.
That's all it took.
Yeah, Reese McGuire and Connor Wong have obviously proven like, hey, like, people are like, who's the starting catcher? Do we have a starting catcher? What are we going to get from Connor Wong? Well, we've gotten plenty from both of them. So I'm very happy about that. Connor Wong was the lone. He got 1 vote last series, and it was from our manager, Alex Cora. And it was you, Lou, who said that Alex Cora's vote should count as 1.5.
I mean, you get right. I mean, you guys you got Cora voting on like MVP of the series. He's the manager of the team. He's kind of like tied in. You know what I mean?
I'd give him two. I think he should count for 2 votes.
If not 2. I mean, he's kind of tied in, right? Like he kind of is in the whole scene. He knows how valuable all aspects of it's going on. So if he votes for a guy, he's got to kind of push it over the top, doesn't he? You get his vote?
I mean, well, that's why we expanded.
When do we vote?
Like now,
because I got a 13-year-old over here. That's going to go to bed.
After we talk about,
because he knows I'm on the podcast right now.
I mean, if you want, you can place your vote right now.
Let me place my vote.
Put your kid to bed. That's up to you.
Because it's pants to the nipples.
Okay,
get him up to the armpit. It's Yoshida. It has to be Yoshida each and every day. The guy's an absolute massive stud right now.
Okay,
fun to watch. All right.
Okay. All right. So that's Lou Merloni's vote for the future Clark's Ketchup Series MVP.
And Pete, I hope he gets some sleep, man. I'm sorry. I apologize.
Appreciate it. All
right, boys. You got it anytime.
Right. Thank you, Lou.
Thank you, Lou.
We'll see you. All right. So that's 1 vote in. That's 1 vote for Masataka Yoshida.
I'm sorry. Pete looks like absolute shit. I don't mean to be a dickhead or anything. You look like dog shit, Pete. I don't know if you haven't been sleeping. Your skin looks a little red. You look unwell. You look very ill.
I'm getting fucking. I come on for the podcast for the first time in months, and I immediately get dunked on by fucking Tyler Milliken.
Yeah, dude, you look disgusting. I'm sorry.
That's a horrible thing to hear.
The last time I talked to Pete, he told me I could not fit in the lockers in high school. So go fuck yourself.
Tyler's been stewing on that for a month and a half. Sox are doing great, and he's just fucking can't wait for the second I show back up on the podcast to fucking tell me how shitty I look.
I love you, Pete.
I love you too, Tyler.
This is crazy.
I know. I need somebody or all 3 of you to fill me in on what's been happening with the Red Sox. I know things have been going well, but I have not watched a second of baseball. Which probably not a coincidence.
They've won 6 straight baseball games. They just swept the Toronto Blue Jays in a 4-game series, today. And they just leapfrogged the Blue Jays for sole possession at 3rd place.
Okay, all I heard was sole possession at 3rd place. You were you cut out.
Yeah, I don't know why my internet's really shitty today. It's been good. It was good during baseball's dead, right, Tyler? I mean, Jake.
Yeah, it was fine.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on.
Jared told me last episode that this was fixed.
I mean, it is fixed.
The Sox are good again?
Sox are good again.
I mean, again is generous.
Yeah. I mean, they've been good.
All right.
Yeah.
I'm glad.
I am too. And I'm glad that Jake is about to do a Blue Moon ad read because, man, I am thirsty. And I wish I had a Blue Moon right here. I'm probably going to put a fridge in here at some point and just load it up with Blue Moon so that when we record podcasts in studio, all we have to do is just step right outside and crack some Blue Moons with the boys. But Jake, if you could be so kind as to telling the good folks at home about Blue Moon.
Some beers can say they're brewed for baseball, but only Blue Moon is brewed by baseball. Beer and baseball just go together, and no beer goes better than the one that was literally born in a ballpark. Blue Moon was created at Coors Field in Denver, Colorado. It's the natural choice for opening day and all season long. This is usually where I take a giant dump all over Tyler, but honestly, right now, I don't feel like I can do that in all good conscience because the vibes are way too high and there's way too much positivity going on. People like to talk about their favorite moments when having a beer. To me, nothing hits better than that post-sweep Blue Moon. The first thing I did once the Red Sox officially swept the Jays is I went straight to my fridge, I grabbed a Blue Moon, sat down on the couch, cracked that bad boy open, and I just enjoyed the moment. And honestly, as I was sitting there watching the highlights of the sweep, I thought, damn, I wish my buddy Tyler was here to crack a nice Blue Moon with me. I think it actually would have been a pretty nice moment until he started shitting all over Pavetta, talking about the ring of plates, generally just not knowing anything about the outside world besides the Red Sox, probably telling me to spare him. And then I would have been like, all right, dude, get the fuck out of my house and let me enjoy my Blue Moons. Because with its refreshing flavor with Valencia orange peel for a subtle sweetness and hints of coriander, Blue Moon Belgian-style wheat ale is a one-of-a-kind beer that's made brighter. It's carefully crafted and full-flavored with refreshing notes and a smooth, creamy finish. Blue Moon was brewed by baseball to give you a dose of nostalgia and get you excited for the new season. Why strike out with the same old beer when you can get something that's one of a kind? Its bold flavor, bright explosion of color, and iconic orange slice ritual guarantee a one-of-a-kind beer experience perfect for spring weather. Best served with its signature orange garnish to showcase its beautiful bright color, A beer this good only comes around once in a blue moon, but you can enjoy it all season long. Bring the ballpark to you with Blue Moon Belgian-style wheat ale. It's one of a kind every time. Check out shop.bluemoonbrewingcompany.com for beer and baseball merch, or visit get.bluemoonbeer.com/Jared to find Blue Moon delivery options. That's get.bluemoonbeer.com/Jared. Blue Moon, made brighter. Celebrate responsibly. Blue Moon Brewing Company, Golden, Colorado Ale.
Thank you, Jake. I appreciate that a lot. We're halfway through the series review right now, Peter.
Okay. Give me something quick, because I gotta get back to the grind.
Oh, okay. I didn't see like I thought Lou was in, but Lou is just coming to vote. I didn't know that. Pete is just coming to say, hey, I didn't know that. So give us a little update on what's been going on in the world of Pete.
Just hockey. That's it. Just a lot of hockey. That's it.
Yeah. What games are you watching right now?
Nothing more than that.
It's kind of sad that the last time we recorded, we were saying go Bees going into Game 7.
Mm-hmm.
That's how the last podcast ended.
Yep. It just things went really off the rails to end the season. Missed my girlfriend's birthday dinner because they couldn't close out in Game 6. So pushed to Game 7, had to miss the birthday dinner with her family. They famously lost that Game 7. The entire hockey world laughed at me for like 2 to 3 days straight. Gonna hear these jokes for the next 10 years probably. It's gonna be awesome.
Mm-hmm. Unless they win it next year, Pete.
They're gonna have a pretty good team next year, I think.
Yeah.
But they had the best team in the fucking history of the league this year. History of the league.
That's good. I mean, I'm glad you're happy, and
I didn't say I was happy.
No, I'm glad you're happy, and we've missed you on the podcast. Everyone's been asking for a Pete Blackburn update, and I was like, I don't want to reach out to him. I was like, I feel like the last thing that I want when the Red Sox get eliminated is people being like, "You okay?"
Well, here's my experience, and it's a bit. I don't want to come off as ungrateful, because there was a lot of people that were in my mentions that were like, "Sorry, bud, but the good news is this means you can come back to the podcast." And like I'm happy that people enjoy my presence here, or some people do. But that's just not how my job works. Like the Bruins are out doesn't mean that I'm done with hockey. Mm-hmm. So I'm through the rest of the playoffs, and then I will be back. Sox on the radar.
Okay. I would advise you to. I mean, how many screens do you have? I know that you just did your
I've
setup
got
downstairs.
Two major ones, and right now I've been doing like a lot of Celtics on the second one.
Okay.
But like once
that feels like a choice. You don't cover basketball.
No, but the games, they're more stakes. I know like you're a 162 guy, but higher stakes for the Celts right now.
Okay.
I want to be apprised with what's going on with them.
You need to feel something.
Yeah. I need to see a team that can not fucking crush my dreams in the playoffs.
Yeah. The Red Sox won't do that to you.
No.
All right. Well, if you want to get back to watching hockey, you're welcome to pop in here whenever you'd like. We'll keep sending you the link, and if you want to pop in when we record, you're more than welcome to come in and say.
Yeah, I'll probably pop in somewhat frequently. Now, there's only one game on at a time now for the rest of the playoffs, so when there's intermission, I'll pop in. I know these podcasts run like 5 hours long, so I'll have plenty of opportunity.
Perfect. Well, it was good to see your face. I'm happy that you're happy again, as always.
Love you guys.
Take care of yourself, Pete.
Fuck you, Tyler.
Now I was talking puck with Pete Blackburn.
Yeah, we puck.
Yeah, we can follow him on Twitter at Pete Blackburn. Appreciate him dropping on by. The series goes on. We're still talking about this. We've had fucking surprise guests on this show. We're gonna get some. We've already had one vote submitted for the Klark's Ketchup Series MVP with Lou Merloni submitting. But yes, the third game in this series. Wait, who the fuck started? Oh, Tanner Houck. Yeah, okay. Yeah, he had that one shit inning.
I do think that pairs in with the conversation we're about to have, so we can kind of fuse them together a little bit here.
Oh, because you want to talk about Nick Pivetta? Is that what you want to talk about, Tom?
Yeah, I do want to talk about Nick Pivetta. I have some credit.
I want to talk about Nick Pivetta. Oh,
Lead
you want
the
to give him
way.
some credit? No. If you had something nice to say about Nick Pivetta, then the floor is yours.
Yeah, I thought Nick Pivetta was solid in Game 3. Now the
Yes!
fuck you with this bullshit.
Tyler said Nick Pivetta has an established, in concrete stamp on it, spot in the rotation. Nothing can take him out of the rotation except for an act of God. An act of God would take out Nick
I don't
Pivetta.
know.
This man will make 32 starts this season, all with the Boston Red Sox. That's a fact, dude.
I'll look at Pivetta, who now has the lowest ERA amongst the starters, right after Hout gave up the 6.
Oh, shit, that's the wrong button.
What is going on?
That's crazy.
Let's go Red Sox.
Hey, listen.
Red Sox.
No one bats 1,000.
You're
Not
off
even
the rails here, man.
Listen, hey.
Get it together.
I did a no-look pass.
You just
didn't
got
know
intercepted.
Yeah, I did a no-look pass there. Shit's going crazy on this podcast. That's why it's the most downloaded Red Sox podcast in the world.
This is your 8th inning, Kike Hernandez version.
Yeah, okay, yeah. Threw one away.
But with Nick Pivetta, I thought he was solid. Now, the first couple innings, I think, Jared, you'd put your hand up. You were scared. He was getting hit hard. A lot of hard contact.
The wind, I will say this, the wind probably prevented another 2 home runs for the Blue Jays.
Which I think obviously would have made it a lot different of a performance, but he grinded through. And credit to Nick Pivetta for doing that, giving you 6 innings when you needed it. That was massive. And, he was trying some different stuff. He was using the slider a little bit more. Didn't look bad. And he has the lowest ERA on the staff at 4.99. The FIP's 5.48. So how good do I feel about it overall? I feel about the same as I did about Nick Pivetta. And it's not that I don't believe in Nick Pivetta. He's a 5. It's just, what are your rotation options when you have Paxton making his final rehab start and Whitlock's back? It's going to be hard to make room for him, considering, you can't kick Kluber to the curb. If I could not give a fuck, I'd pick Pivetta over Kluber any day of the week. But, we're working with some things where you got to balance the contract he handed out and giving him that opportunity. But for Nick Pivetta not to get his dick pushed in by a Blue Jays team or an AL East team for once, it was pretty refreshing.
You just combine dick kicked in and shit pushed in into dick pushed in.
Yeah, you never had your dick pushed in?
No.
It hurts. It's not a good feeling.
I can imagine. I can't feel very good, but that was a nice little hybrid expression that you used there. I think, again, to your point, he gave up 2 home runs. I cut out again. I know.
Yep.
He gave up 2 home runs. He could have given up 4. It could have been way worse. And it wasn't.
You take that, right? And it's just one of those things. Right now, Pivetta is what Nick Pivetta is. He's going to give you a 4 or 5-ish ERA. He's going to go make 32 starts. That has value. No one's denying that. It's just, eventually your rotation is going to be Sale, Kluber, Whitlock, Bayo, Paxton. Right? Isn't that what 5 starters is?
I mean, yeah. I mean, if you're not, we're not talking about that last game yet, but that blister seems to really be an issue with Bayo.
And that could obviously change the conversation a little bit. But I think that overall, Game 3, Chris Martin having his best outing, Jaron Duran walking 2 times for the first time in his entire career. You want to talk about the plate discipline improving, his K rates down, and Emmanuel Valdez hitting his first homer. Or had the ball explode on Vladdy. Excuse me.
I admittedly don't know how to say his first name, but I don't think that's how you say it.
And Emmanuel Valdez, right?
It's like Emmanuel.
Emmanuel Valdez.
I don't know if that's it.
Is that wrong? Jake?
Jake, how do you say it?
I think Jared nailed it.
He hits righties, and props to Valdez. He's been playing a better second base. He deserves some love for what he's been doing. I like that platoon of him and Arroyo.
And Manuel Valdez.
I hate you.
I fucking tried, dude. I'm not trying to not pronounce it. I really don't know how to say it, but shit. I don't want to kickstart the Klark's Ketchup MVP conversation too soon. But this is going to be a tough loss for somebody.
A lot of people.
a lot of people. And there's an unsung hero of this series. The fact that Alex Verdugo hit a walk-off home run in this series and he's not even going to sniff like the top. I mean, and Enemina Valdez hit 333 in this series with a 968 OPS. He will not even be in the conversation for the MVP. There were 4 dudes.
No, he won't be. But I think that part, like Lou was saying earlier, you want to talk about Heim having his big week. How many people crapped on that Christian Vasquez trade? Especially afterwards when you heard about how Bogarts talked. Scouts loved it at the time, and it's proving. Valdez looks like a legit, at least option against right-handed pitching. Someone that is hitterish. Almost hit another homer tonight. That was just short, right in front of the bullpen. What more can you ask for? When they call on their depth on these young guys, they're stepping up. And I think what you get most excited about is the guy who's had probably the roughest April out of anybody. Tristan Casas going 3 for 5. The last one was very lucky. Dalton Varsho, I don't know what you were doing. But 2 RBI singles, you get that guy going. Whoa. Like you throw him and Devers as 2 guys, Casas really never got going. Devers being cold lately, and the lineup is doing this. Imagine what happens when all this stuff clicks at the same time.
Well, Alex Cora talked about that after the game tonight, where I'm paraphrasing, but the central message was, see what happens when you fucking put the ball in play? Like, I know it's almost like some hitters are still stuck in pre-shift ban where they're like, I got to put the ball here. I got to focus on, but just put the fucking ball in play. And I checked a couple days ago, but the Red Sox are one of the best teams in terms of strikeout percentage. Like they don't strike out a lot at all. I don't know offhand what the contact numbers are, but the updated strikeout, they strike out the least amount in the American League. Only the Nationals have struck out less on a rate basis than the Boston Red Sox.
That's the hitting philosophy they dreamed of when they went and got a Justin Turner to come in here. They paid Yoshida. They didn't want last year. How many rallies did you watch where JD Martinez was flailing at baseballs, where it felt like they were not putting the ball in play? It was a lot of bad strikeouts. They don't want to be that team. Alex Cora wants a team that, just makes contact, put the ball in the gaps. Game 4, I think, is the perfect representation of what happens when you do that. But that's what they're playing into here. This team just constantly puts the ball in play. You have athletes too. So you watch a Jarren Duran beat out infield singles, all this stuff happening. I feel like the Red Sox are playing like the brand of baseball Alex Cora has dreamt and envisioned of the last few years. He just has the personnel to actually do it.
I'm sending out a tweet right now. The Red Sox have the second best on base percentage in baseball. Parentheses 345. This tweet's going to slap.
This is the updated numbers too.
Yep. The Boston Red Sox have the second best on base percentage in baseball, and they have I feel like if you say they have the second best strikeout percentage, like how do you word that? Like they've struck out the second least?
Yeah, I had a similar tweet I was trying to structure in my head, and I ended up doing walk to K ratio because it was a little bit easier to post. I'd say the lowest. They have the lowest K percentage.
And the second lowest and the second lowest strikeout percentage. That's a good tweet, Tyler.
It's a fantastic tweet. I'm going to retweet it right now.
19.6% in parentheses. And then you got to close the parenthesis there and add a period. The Boston Red Sox have the second best on base percentage in baseball and the second lowest strikeout percentage. That's a tweet right there, my friends.
For a lineup that, I think a lot of people crapped on, that a lot of people never believed in. I think you go back to the Tampa series, the panic in the streets. And, it was justified. We were looking at it. They were struggling. But, man, to see this kind of turnaround, obviously Duran joining the mix has helped a lot. But Valdez, this is the depth that Chaim Bloom's talked about. When it shows up and does its job, you have to tip your cap to him. You don't have a choice.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And I will add on that game, Cutter Crawford going down was very scary. It seems like he's not going on the IL. It's just hamstring tightness.
He's fine.
Is that in the know? Mm-hmm. I love that. Thank you.
Oh, it was, let me see. I asked him. It's nothing serious. So
that's
it's
all
not
you can ask for.
Yeah, it's not nothing, but it's nothing serious. So that's good, I guess. When was the last update on, when was the last public update?
Well, there was the awkwardness. Someone tweeted out last night, I think it was just a miscommunication, that it was his knee. And then everyone was like, what the fuck? But they basically said today that they don't think he needs to go on the IL. He just needs a little time. Probably similar to Kenley.
Yeah.
Which, not ideal as you try to balance things, but, especially with Winkowski going down for 3 or 4 days, they're trying to rest him up too.
Yeah. I was told nothing serious.
Thank you. Nice wink.
Speaking of wink,
Josh
Winkowski.
Dog.
I mean, he's a weapon. He is. So I'm going to give you a compliment and an insult at the same time. You ready?
That's classic Carabas.
Josh Winkowski is what Garrett Whitlock wishes he was.
Interesting. I understand where you're coming from.
I'm not wrong.
No, he plays the Garrett Whitlock role of 2021. It is a little different now because he's been playing 1 and 2 inning roles, but he is the go-to anchor. You need to get by, pull the fire alarm. Josh Winkowski's coming in to fucking get you out of the situation or save the game.
Whose career trajectory would you rather have? The failed starter that becomes an elite reliever, or the elite reliever that becomes a failed starter and then you don't know if he can convert back to an elite reliever, if that's even going to happen at all?
I think we do know that Garrett Whitlock can go back to being an elite reliever.
We don't know
we saw that last year.
You don't know that. No, we didn't.
Yes, I did. I watched Garrett Whitlock on one hip go out and still be a very damn good reliever.
I don't need him to be a damn good reliever. I need him to be the best reliever that we've ever seen.
Well, we got a positive update on Garrett Whitlock. His elbow is not barking and he's back to throwing.
That's good.
Amazing.
He was throwing from 45 feet. He wasn't throwing off a mound or anything.
Which is the big part to play there. But Winkowski and Cora, you want to talk about Cora fucking smelling or tasting blood in the water? I don't know how sharks do that shit. To push him after he threw 2 innings in game 1, to have him come out for that save in game 2, ballsy. That is balls. And they went and did it, and he got it done. I think Winkowski, to show that kind of versatility, that's something serious. Not a lot of pitchers can handle that, or they'd crap the bed. He is, changing the outlook of that Andrew Benintendi trade. I never had a problem with the trade. I wasn't one of those people, but if you did, I think you can kind of point and say, I'll take the next 5 or 6 years of Wink.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't think that there are many complaints. I think the complaint wasn't so much oh, you could have gotten more for Benintendi, or Benintendi should have still been here. It was more, you got 4 prospects back?
Yeah, the Freddie Valdez, Luis De La Rosa, was it Grant Gambrell? He kind of fell off too.
Cordero.
Yeah, and Franchi, who, look at him now.
Yeah, look at him now. He's playing for the fucking Rail Riders.
Hard times.
Yeah.
Well, the Yankees are basically the Rail Riders at this point, so.
Oh, damn.
Sorry. That was mean?
No, that's fair. It's fair. It's true. It is true. I mean, Harrison Bader got hurt last night, and fucking Oswald Peraza got hurt last night. So they're dealing with it. They're going through it over there in the Bronx.
What we're not going to do is make fun of them. We're not going to sit here and clown on them like they tried to do to us. And I think, there's some people in the Yankees community that are really quiet about the Red Sox right now. Quiet about certain players like Masataka Yoshida that they may have insulted and said they sucked.
That they did. I've heard people say that. The Empires, and it's weird that they haven't said anything about Masataka Yoshida.
Not a word, not a tweet.
No.
Well, they're scared.
What did I do wrong? What did I see wrong?
It's interesting. It's truly interesting that we don't hear much from that corner of the internet anymore.
I just, for Pete's sake, it's.
Oh, that Yoshida homer at Yankee Stadium is going to feel like crack. With that short porch is going to be a thing of fucking beauty, dude.
Oh, man.
The Empire's back, baby!
Damn. So.
Suck on it.
That's interesting. It is an interesting dynamic these days. But speaking of Masataka Yoshida, well, do we didn't really finish the Nick Pivetta conversation. Did we? We did. We kind of made it to Cutter Crawford.
I think we're on the same page when it comes to Pivetta. I think you think I hate him. I don't hate him. I just think
you
he is
literally
what he is.
wanted to send him to China.
Whoa.
Yeah, you said that.
That's
said
Ryan
that.
Brazier and Caleb.
No. You said, get ready to learn Chinese, buddy. That's what you said to Nick Pivetta.
Oh, that shot clip's hilarious. But no, I appreciate Nick Pivetta. I just don't think there's really a way this rotation can play out where he's going to be in it. I think he could be back in it by like middle of the season when they're done with Kluber and they're like, fuck it, we'll take the guy at least who has somewhat interesting stuff over 87. That's all. But I think they'll let Kluber get a chance here to try and figure it out.
This was a point that I wanted to make earlier about the Kluber versus Pivetta conversation, is that as much as I think that Pivetta is the better starting pitcher for the Red Sox this year, and it's not exactly, we're not talking about aces here, we're just talking about back end of the rotation guys, but we only have 5 spots. You're a better team if one guy has to move. You're a better team with Pivetta going to the bullpen instead of Kluber. Did I cut out again?
You did.
I said in the conversation of Kluber versus Nick Pivetta, you're a better team if Pivetta is the guy that has to go to the bullpen versus Kluber. Like, I don't need a guy throwing 86 mile an hour heaters that walks a bunch of guys. And like Pivetta is still like, he's still useful in the bullpen, but
our favorite Nick Pivetta moment is a bullpen moment.
Yeah.
Right? Like that was when Nick Pivetta thrived. Yeah.
He struck out the last guy to end an inning in extras like 3 innings in a row.
Some of the most electric baseball you'll ever see. It's just they're going to have a lot of hard rotation decisions to make in the coming days. And I think that's where you look at Heim and you say, yeah, you've had an amazing week. Things are clicking for you. You have all the ingredients here to make like a nice chicken parm if you do it right with the pitching staff. Now, if you don't put this cocktail together, it's going to fucking blow up in your face. You need to push the right buttons of who you put in this rotation and who you put in the bullpen. Because the wrong decisions, you start to fall back into this cycle like you were in April. The rotation, all they did was post a 4.40 ERA all one time through, and you went on a 5-game winning streak at the time. Now it's 6. Like, that's what it takes. Just give this offense a chance, and you're going to keep winning games. Just don't fuck it up.
Mm-hmm.
Now, when you looked at Tanner Houck, how did you view that start in comparison?
1 bad inning.
Which is hard, because I thought overall he looked better than Pivetta.
Yeah, he did. And I guess like we are transporting ourselves back to 2021 where it's like, oh, you can't let him see the lineup for the 3rd time and blah, 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 blah. Like you can. I mean, he's obviously way more effective the first 2 times through, but I don't want to get into a situation because Cutter Crawford has been outstanding out of the bullpen as like a multi-inning guy. I think his ERA is like 1 as a reliever this year. So I don't want to get into a situation where now, in order to keep Tanner Houck in the rotation and to keep him effective and valuable as a starter, now you're just going to attach him to Cutter Crawford and like Cutter Crawford's going to piggyback Tanner Houck. I don't want that. Like, I still want to be able to call upon Cutter Crawford as a reliever when you need to call upon Cutter Crawford. Like, that's what I'm looking for.
Yeah. And I think with Houck, like, you look at how it played out, like 3rd time, Dalton Varsho, a lefty, is also the one who takes him deep for that 3-run jack. It's like, those are both of the main hurdles for him. Like, the issues with lefties and going through a lineup that many times. Yeah, it's just not ideal. I still think, and Cora was weird about this. Did you see the comments he had when he was talking about Houck?
No.
He like basically at first was like, yeah, we want Tanner to keep starting. Like, we want to see what it is. Let him keep going. We don't, really not planning to move him. And then they follow up. They're like, wait, so are you confirming like Houck's going to be in the rotation moving forward? And he was like, he's starting Sunday, and left it at that. But it felt like the first part of the answer was hinting. It's just, I have a hard time envisioning a rotation here once Whitlock gets healthy where you're going to be able to keep him in here as well. You're in a tough spot. You're not going to send Bayo down. Bayo's back up. Bayo's showing he deserves to be up here. So something has to give. Paxton, they're not going to put him in the bullpen. I'd be shocked at this point based on his comments. So most likely, does it end up being Tanner in the bullpen? Maybe that gives you, obviously he's making one more start. Depending on what plays out with Cutter here, it can kind of give you that breather. Maybe they go and say, you know what, Wink, we're going to use you 1 to 2 innings max. Tanner, you're going to follow the kind of Cutter Crawford 3-4 inning role. And we'll play it that way. And then you have something that's, Jansen, Wink, Martin, Schreiber, and then you get to play around with the multi-inning options. It's a scary fucking bullpen.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. It is. I like where we're at. So that was the fourth game. Then we get to the finale, in which Kevin Gausman was on the mound, who is a notorious Red Sox killer. I didn't look up the numbers, like what he did in terms of his numbers against the Red Sox, especially since with the Blue Jays. But I also remember back in 2016, the year that Rick Porcello won the Cy Young, because I was a Kevin Gausman guy when he was with Baltimore. I was like, and it was because of this start.
It was him, Dylan Bundy. Like everyone was like, "Oh, here they come, man! This is gonna be terrifying for years."
I'm gonna try and find the box score to that game right now. It was 2016, the year that Rick Porcello won the Cy Young Award, and he went up against Kevin Gausman, who was with the Orioles at the time, and I'm pretty sure like Rick got out-dueled by Gausman. And I was like, it was like one of his only losses of the year. Okay, yeah, it was. Okay, it was a 1-0 game. September 14th. Yes, Rick Porcello. Kevin Gausman went 8 innings, 4 hits, 0 earned runs, 1 walk, 6 strikeouts. Rick Porcello went 8 innings, 4 hits, 1 earned run, 6 strikeouts. And it was a 1-0 win for the Orioles. And I was like, God damn, like Rick fucking shoved. And yeah, so he, at the time, Rick was 20-3.
Wow.
Yeah. Rick was 20-3 at the time. And I am now just learning. My brain does not recall this at all. Koji was still on the Red Sox in 2016?
Yeah, right? Was the end of it? But I don't think he was Koji anymore.
Nah,
like, they weren't really using
was
him.
4 at the time.
Yeah, they had kind of shied away. 2016, 345, but off the Koji we know. Come on. And he only had 7 saves that whole year.
Yeah.
Oh, that was Kimbrel era, right?
No, his first year was 17. No, his first year was 16.
First year was 16. Yep.
Yeah. Okay.
Fired from my job.
Mark Trumbo hit a home run that night.
Another Orioles legend back then, Mark Trumbo. But that's the thing with Gausman. He had a 2.65 ERA against you last year in 6 starts. And Gausman, to his credit, he went to he was with Cincinnati for a minute. He was with Atlanta for a minute. And then he went to San Francisco and they fixed him. They put it all together for him.
Yeah, I remember when he went to Cincinnati, and then the next year, wait, did he pitch for the Braves too?
Yeah, he was with Atlanta for a minute.
Okay, yeah, because I remember Braves fans and Reds fans, once he went to San Francisco and turned into a stud, they were like, "What the fuck? We didn't get that Gausman."
He was one of those top pitching prospects that just couldn't figure it out at the big leagues, and then boom, they did it. And I'm still mad the Red Sox weren't in on him. Going into 2022, you should have for his price. 5 years, $110 million. We've bitched about that a million times. But for your lineup to come out and do what you did to him, it's just not something your lineup was capable of last year. You couldn't put the ball in play that frequently. It's just not how it was constructed. And that's what they did. Obviously Yoshida hits that homer in the first inning to set the tone. But after that, you're getting Reese McGuire, the BABIP King doing it. Tapia beating out that fielder's choice. Hustle. Tapia, I have love for you. I don't know if you'll be on this roster 3 months from now, but the hustle, man.
Chaos on the base paths.
That's all you ask for. That's the stuff. And, before you know it, Devers can break it open and Yoshida adds another RBI. Duran, it was really cool to see them kind of just toy with Gausman on the mound and take advantage on the base paths. It's just the Red Sox stole 5 bases. They haven't done that since 2020. That's what you're dealing with here. And 2020, it's not even a real season.
No. If you put a gun to my head and said, when's the last time the Red Sox stole 5 bases? I would have been 2011 when Carl Crawford was on the team and stole 4 of them.
Ellsbury and what was it? Philly? He did that? Stole 5 in one game or 6?
Oh, yeah. I remember that. Yeah.
Way back.
Was that also 2011?
I think it was.
Yeah, it had to be.
MVP or should have been the MVP year.
Yeah, you got fucked that year. Who won it? I forget.
Verlander, MVP and Cy Young, right?
Fuck off. Spare me. But tonight And I mentioned some unsung heroes for the Klark's Ketchup Series MVP. Justin Turner hit 444 with a 1029 OPS in this 4-game series. Never would have guessed that. There's been so much offense that I mean, it's going to come down to two guys, and I think it's pretty clear cut who's going to win. But tonight in the series finale, Masataka Yoshida had 3 hits. Justin Turner had 3 hits. Rafael Devers had 3 hits. Jaron Duran had 3 hits. We had 4 3-hit games. 4. That's fucking crazy. The Red Sox had 16 hits in an 11-run assault on the Toronto Blue Jays. 5-run second inning kind of highlights this one. And then the third inning, we saw some fireworks with the Rafael Devers homer. But Masataka Yoshida is riding a 14-game hitting streak after tonight. And he's doing it with multi-hit games. Like, he's not going out there and getting a dinky hit there and a dinky hit there. He's fucking like, I'm gonna look it up. Do you know the date that his hitting streak started?
14 days ago.
Well, they've played 14 games. They've had off days.
Was it the day he got the day off, right? During the Twin Series from that point on?
Remember that? Remember fucking Masataka Yoshida was getting days off because he just wasn't good?
And he was coming off the hamstring too. People forget he was hurt in Tampa.
Yeah, that's true. So his hitting streak started on April 20th. Wow. Yoshida sparks it up, dude. Good for him. I'm gonna look this up right now because I'm now curious about the breakdown of the hitting streak.
If you look at his hit spray chart, oh my God. It's like legit could not be more perfect. From foul pole to foul pole, you have home runs, you got doubles, going to left field for a lot of his singles and doubles, like off the monster. He's figured it out. He's more than figured it out.
Over the life of his 14-game hitting streak, he's hitting 446 with a 484 on base, an 804 slug. That is a 1287 OPS. How the hits break down: 25 hits in 14 games, 15 singles, 5 doubles, 5 homers. He's scored 13 runs. He's driven in 18 runs in this 14-game stretch. He's walked 5 times, which is very uncharacteristic. He's actually struck out more times than he's walked over the life of the streak. 5 walks, 6 strikeouts. But
like, that's
45
the kind of
total bases in these 14 games.
It's incredible. But that's kind of what we say with like Tristan Casas. Like, I felt like Yoshida early was being not aggressive enough in the strike zone. He kind of needed to really get after the ball. You had to lift it as well. That was part of it. He started just being aggressive. Like, he's not sitting back. Like, he'll spit on anything that's not in the strike zone. But if he thinks he got his pitch, that dude swings harder than anybody. Like, swing out of your shoes hard. I think I look at Yoshida right now, and man, if I was Heim, I would be thanking the heavens every day.
Well, I had that tweet last night about
what was it?
the executives tweet.
Oh yes, calling those frauds out.
Yeah, let me get the exact quote. It's becoming more apparent by the day that all of the anonymous baseball executives who criticize Chaim Bloom for the Masataka Yoshida contract are just a bunch of broke boys who were salty that they couldn't sign Yoshida themselves. That's
what it is.
That's a bar.
Crazy. And like, I think Lou was telling the story on the radio broadcast, and I was listening on the way home from work. And he was just saying, like, when the Red Sox went down there and they were talking with their hitting staff, and they were talking, like, they were kind of comparing how they view Yoshida and how he registers in a lot of their, metrics and different analytics. And the Red Sox were just like, dude, like this, we're seeing the same thing here. Like, we're seeing such a special hitter. And like, you look at Yoshida, you don't want to obviously go too far. Like, where does he end up ultimately? But to see him do this early, I'm not expecting a significant regression. Like, he's not going to hit 450. Like, that's unreal. But you're telling me you expect Yoshida not to hit 300 in the big leagues at this point? Like 300 with 20 to 25 homers. That's worth a lot more than 90 million. There were a lot of people fucking sobbing over Jose Abreu this offseason in fucking tears, shambles. Like, what did he get? 360 ultimately? Like, first off, Jose Abreu has not looked great this year. That's the first part. But if you're getting a bat like Yoshida and you're getting that for 590, how can you not be thrilled? There are people who are like, oh, I wish we got Benintendi. I wish we got 575 for Benintendi. Much different baseball players. Much
Jose
different.
Abreu is batting 232 with a 531 OPS.
And like, not to hot take here or look too far
He does
ahead.
not have a home run yet.
Yoshida has 6. And we
That's
said this
crazy.
lineup needed power.
I
But
mean,
everyone was laughing at the Red Sox when, they didn't end up going that far for Abreu. They set a price and said, I'm good. I don't want to do it.
you want to hear a fun stat?
Give it to me.
Jose Abreu has 29 hits all season. Yoshida has 25 over his 14-game hitting streak.
That's crazy. But that's what you have going on for you.
Mm-hmm.
That's Masataka Yoshida. And I think, we'll see after this year. I don't know if Justin Turner is going to be on the Red Sox a year from now. But if Yoshida's your DH and like this is all you're going to have to worry about is him going out there and just tearing up lineups, you're in a very good place.
I feel like we're in a great place right now.
Go ahead.
Well, go ahead.
I'm upset a little. I'm not upset. Hurt.
What did you say? What's the dumb fucking Jinx Sprite thing that you said that everyone hated you for?
Oh, no, that was a bar. People appreciated that. Look at the lights. You owe me a Sprite.
No. Yeah,
You
that's
fuck.
terrible. Yeah, that's terrible.
No. People were upset with my bridge year term. Why is that
I'm
controversial?
I think if you don't have the full context, like in my opinion, you can still compete in a bridge year.
2021 was a bridge year. You didn't go over the luxury tax. Any year you're not going over the luxury tax is a bridge year.
I don't consider that. I don't consider not going over automatically a bridge year. I don't. Like 2010 was a bridge year. They probably were like top 3 in payroll in the league.
Yeah, I think in this era, Red Sox baseball is different, though. How they go about
Maybe.
the luxury tax with the CBAs that have happened since then.
Yeah, maybe. But I mean, I remember people freaking out in 2010 because Theo Epstein publicly called it a bridge year in 2010. How old were you in 2010?
12.
Okay. So
when you're a big market team in today's game, if you're not pushing in and you're not going over the luxury tax, you're choosing not to put everything in there. You're saying, hey, we're not using all our assets, all our strength. That's what 2021 was. It was, hey, we have a bunch of pieces here. Let's see which ones fit long term. Let's see which ones don't. We're not going to go over the luxury tax, even though, going into that trade deadline, a lot of people were so hyped on the Red Sox. They had started to scuffle a bit, but, it was like, wow, they're really shocking everyone. You were still in the division race at that time. So they put that hard stop and went and got Schwarber and Robles and stayed under.
people don't like the term bridge year because to them it sounds like we're not trying. I think people are more comfortable with transitional year because it's like we're trying to get to this point, which is a championship. A bridge year is just like, man, we suck, and like,
I know
it's buckle up. But that's how it comes off. Is bridge year
not
means
what it is.
No chance. That's why I'm saying transitional year means like we're building towards something and you can see the process. Bridge year is like, why would you even watch the team this year? Like, we're not going for it. Like, blah blah blah. It's almost like calling someone fat, and it's like, oh man, like I'm fat, or being like, yeah, he's husky. You're saying the same thing. It's just one sounds nicer.
Yeah, I just look at bridge year and it's like in 2021, it was like, yeah, you bridged to what 2022 should have been, where you actually, you handed out a Trevor Story contract. You went over the luxury tax. Sure went way farther, but you didn't. Look at John Henry, look at Ian Bloom, whoever you want to credit for all that. But that's what I see this year. And that's why when you were talking to Lou and it's like, what's going to happen when we get to the deadline? I'd be shocked if they end up going over it, because I think they're going to have a ceiling on this team. They're going to look at it. There's is this a World Series caliber team? And in 2021, say what you will, they didn't believe that team was going to go as far as it did. And you look back now and you're like, damn, if you added maybe another reliever or two, like it's a different story for you. But maybe the Red Sox look at it and say, hey, we learned our lesson, but then you'd be going over it twice, back-to-back years. And that's where you get so fucked. And Lou was spot on. I know I've said it a million times on here. Going over the luxury tax last year is such a massive mistake. Because if you didn't, then you could push over this year if you wanted to. But I think we all say, well, is it about this year or is it about next year? What are you building towards?
I just got a DM from Frank.
Mhm.
Frank T, let's call it. He said, if my ass isn't positivity horned to death tomorrow morning, we may have a problem. People want it.
They need
People
it.
want the horn. They need it. I mean, like I said, I knew that this was going to be a big podcast when the game wasn't even over yet. And people were like, throw the fucking positivity horn down my throat right now. And I was telling both you guys, the Section 10 Reddit has never popped off like this in the history of the show. Like, any given day right now, you go onto the Section 10 Reddit page and there's fucking 10 threads a day. There's like 3 new posts an hour. It's
about
never
totally
been
different
like
stuff too.
Yeah, they're talking about the show. They're talking about it's almost like, so for whatever reason, like there are some people on Red Sox Reddit that like us. Then there are other people on Red Sox Reddit that don't. I don't know. I don't get it. I have no idea. But I think it's more like older fans that like Sons of Sam Horn fans like don't like us because they grew up in a different era. It's more kind of like, I mean, we have listeners of all ages, but it just seems like there's just like a corner of like the Red Sox internet community that are like, they have too much fun. We don't like that.
It's like 25 to 35. And I think we do hit younger than that, but like that's like our
definitely.
main, like that's the main group.
But like you'd be shocked at how many people are like in their 40s and 50s and 60s that listen to this show. And kids in high school listen to this fucking show.
I was one back in the day.
Yeah, like it's nuts, molding young minds. But yeah, it's never popped off like this before, and it's fun. It's fucking fun. Like it's almost like it's a more like we have a sense of humor side of Red Sox Reddit. Like they get the inside jokes, like they want the positivity horn. They want to like they don't want to bitch and complain. Like if you have a negative opinion and you come to the Section 10 Reddit, be prepared to get ambushed. Like it is full positivity on there. And if you come in there with a negative mindset, you better fucking get a helmet on. It's a war zone over there.
We talked last week. There were some weirdly random negative comments, especially about the positivity horn and Clark's Ketchup.
Yeah.
Imagine posting that shit today. You die.
Buried.
It'd be over for you.
Buried! If you come on the Section 10 Reddit and you don't like the positivity horn,
Suck on it.
suck on it. AC said, fuck you if you're not positive after watching this team. How can you not be positive about the 2023 Boston Red Sox? This team got up to such a good start, and they just swept the Blue Jays to the point where, if you remember, we were talking about this in the offseason. We had a little Twitter beef with our friend HVT, Red Sox and stuff on Twitter. We were kind of clashing a little bit because we were like, he's overly positive. We were like, we want the Red Sox to be good. And we're trying to get to a point where we can get excited about the team. And then some moves were made. We're like, okay, all right, we see the vision a little bit. I think, because some people were coming at me today being like, no, we remember when you were fucking negative in the offseason. I was like, yeah, I was pissed that they didn't sign Bogarts. Like, I love Bogart. I love watching him play. And like, I knew him personally. Like, I think like that kind of gets lost sometimes when like I give takes about the team and I'm like, man, like I'm upset that JD Martinez is gone. And people be like, he was fucking washed up. Like, fuck you. And I'm like, bro, like JD was my boy. Like me and JD were fucking tight. So when a guy leaves, like don't take that as a criticism of Chaim Bloom or the organization or like, oh, like look at his like, his fucking batting average on balls and play and all that. Like, it's like, I get it. Like I can understand a decision from a baseball standpoint, but like it will affect me differently if I know the guy. So yeah, I mean, I told HVT on Twitter today, I was like, hey, we may have you on to read your Red Sox manifesto at some point. Like, I feel like that bridge needs to be connected at some point.
He's a fun Twitter follow. What I will say is you can give Bloom credit. And I think I'm a Bloom guy. Like Lou, I would consider someone who's been very fair and real about Chaim, tends to lean and gives him credit for what he's done. There were a lot of mistakes last year. Like if you try to act like there weren't, then you're not paying attention. The luxury tax, like we just talked about, that is a massive mistake. And going into what were the offseason expectations? What were they? We thought Bogarts was coming back. We thought, they were going to get a front-ish line pitcher. They were going to go over the luxury tax after going over the previous year. And we were about to be in that championship contender window. It was going to be like, all right, Heim, put your foot to the gas and let's ride it. The Red Sox thought they were going that way too. That's why there was a 3-year deal for Evaldi on the table that they withdrew after Bogarts told him to fuck off. And he got that, massive deal from the Padres. That's what it was. Let's not pretend like it wasn't. But anyone acting like we were you guys were hating on the Red Sox. I had them at 85 wins. You were on the
86.
Like we were positive. We were right there saying the last week of the season they're going to be in this, and I feel very confident with that statement still.
They're on a 93 win pace right now,
which is wild. Right now, do I think there's going to be regression and there's going to be you're going to go through stretches where you struggle? That's baseball. 2021.
They've got a really tough part of the schedule in August. I mean, it's a gauntlet, but
this month.
But I feel a lot better about it after what we just saw against the Blue Jays. And I know it's a 4-game series, but like that was a measuring stick series. Are there bigger, greater measuring sticks in the American League? Of course there are, but the Blue Jays are one of them, and they just swept them. So I'm very happy about that. It's a test. It's not like, like they swept the Blue Jays, so like now we roll. Now we are a 93 win plus team. Like I don't feel that way. But it's a very good test to have passed through.
It's like when you're a kid in school and like the kid that bullied the fuck out of you last year, that took your fucking lunch money, took your clothes, took your shoes. You had to walk home barefoot one day. When you show up for the following year and you grew a couple inches, you kind of fixed some things up, you restructured how you carry yourself. You just beat the fuck out of that bully. Beat the fucking daylights out of him. Where they were sitting there and like, you don't think they're distraught? Just getting swept 4 games by the Red Sox, a team like the Blue Jays where they just fell behind you in the AL East and in the wild card standings, even though it's a half a game or whatever. They're like, oh shit, like we can't fuck with them anymore. They're not a bitch anymore.
Best. You beat their best. Like you went through Gausman. Like it wasn't like, Gausman shoved and Manoah shoved and Barrios shoved, and you kind of just like got their version of Ryan Brazier. You beat their closer. You knocked Kevin Gausman out early. You got to Manoah with a little BABIP action going on. Barrios was a guy that was pitching really well coming into the series. Like you beat their best, and you kept Matt Chapman virtually off the base paths, which is something that no team has been able to do. So yeah, I'm taking a lot out of it. I am. I'm not saying you're going to project it out. You're not going to extrapolate that over the rest of the season, Tyler, but you're going to take a lot out of it and say, I feel good about my team.
That's exactly it. And you say, well, hey, we beat the Blue Jays at the best. The Blue Jays look across. Red Sox didn't have their closer in this fucking series. We didn't have Kenley Jansen. Guess what? Find a way. Trevor Story, one of your best bats, found a way. He'll be back here in July or August. And, that's not including a Duvall. We'll see what happens with Mondesi when he's eventually available. You have Jolie, who's doing his rehab assignment. Like, the Red Sox aren't at full strength, and they just kicked the shit out of you.
Yeah. I was talking to Whit Merrifield before the game on Monday, and he was singing the praises of Mondesi. He was like, that guy he's super, super, super talented. Like he had nothing but great things to say about Mondesi, and they played together obviously in Kansas City. So I'm excited about that. They've got help is on the way. I just wish the help was in the rotation, but they've got help on the way in other areas, and that's a good thing. But I was hoping that this would happen. It's almost a perfect marriage, so to speak. You still have the Celtics, right? But the Bruins loss, a lot of Celtics fans are just Celtics fans. There's a lot of Bruins fans that are Red Sox fans, but it's like, I'll worry about the Red Sox when the Bruins season's done. I feel like there are a lot of people that were not tuning into the Red Sox because they're paying attention to the Celtics and the Bruins until those runs end, that are now tuning in to the Red Sox because the Bruins are out, and welcome to the party. Like, what a time to shift your focus to the Boston Red Sox, because their winner, we haven't even mentioned, they've won 6 straight.
They haven't lost a game since the Bruins got eliminated.
Correct. Like, what a time to join the party. And I think Is it time? Do you have any other final thoughts on the series finale? I mean,
I don't think so. I'm trying to think in my mind anything that stood out. I think we put it the right way. There's so many packets. There's so much credit. And this is just
so much.
A complete team domination series where you showed up and you got the job done every single day. It's everything you could ask for from this club. And we begged for them to be interesting, for them to have fight. Goddamn, this team has as much fight as any team in recent memory.
Yeah. It's a good team.
Can I ask you a question?
Please.
There was a tweet from Steve.
Okay.
Do you know what tweet I'm talking about?
What, the Red Sox being 6-0 since Caleb Ward got demoted?
I'm not saying anything. I'm not making fun of you, and I'm not laughing at you.
Steve has little dick energy.
Okay.
Like he should want Caleb Ward on this team. Like the team's better if Ort's on it. There's no correlation between Caleb Ward being demoted and the Red Sox winning 6 straight.
Okay, that's all I wanted.
Because I mean, what you could have said if you didn't have little dick energy, you would have said the Red Sox are 6-0 since the Bruins got eliminated because the team was like, all right, the focus is on us. Like, let's step up. But he chose to take a shot at Caleb Ward because he has little dick energy. All right, we got to take a break and talk about Zyn nicotine pouches. We're always talking about what a team needs to get to number 1, but Zyn nicotine pouches are already there. Zyn has helped millions of people achieve a lasting change, earning the title of America's #1 nicotine pouch. If you're a smoker or you're a dipper looking to make a change, look no further than Zyn. Zyn is made with 6 simple ingredients and is available in a wide range of varieties, including spearmint, citrus, and even coffee. And it's available in 2 strengths so you can control your nicotine satisfaction. Because it's discreet, you can enjoy it anywhere, anytime, so you never have to miss a moment of the game. Plus, every can of Zyn earns you points towards premium items like tailgating gear, top-of-the-line tech, Zyn swag, even gift cards. Find your Zyn at your local convenience store or online at Zyn.com. That's Zyn, ZYN.com. Warning, this product contains nicotine. Nicotine is an addictive chemical.
How's Ort doing at AAA?
I don't know, probably a 0 ERA. I'm going to call Coley. Don't look it up.
Okay. Hasn't pitched yet.
They're saving his bullets.
We're saving bullets.
Tyler asked what Caleb Ort's ERA was after getting demoted, and he hasn't pitched yet. And I said they're just saving his bullets down there.
Yeah, keep him fresh.
They're keeping him fresh down there. All right. I've learned to not get into the numbers or start the song until after I call you. So I didn't hit the song.
What time did you guys start recording?
We are an hour and 40 minutes in.
Oh, hell yeah.
Yeah.
Hi, Coley.
All right. Hey, Coley. All right, hold on.
Hello.
Ketchup Series MVP. Series MVP.
The Klark's Ketchup Series MVP is brought to you by Klark's Ketchup. Drizzle that ketchup. We've got Coley Mick on the line, and Coley is completely unaware that we have expanded the Klark's Ketchup Series MVP voting panel.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so we've got you, Tyler, Jake, myself, Lou Merloni, Alex Cora, Will Fleming, and Tom Karen.
Jesus.
You're forgetting one.
I'm forgetting one?
Yep. You.
He didn't answer. So he didn't answer. I don't know. He probably goes back to his hotel and goes to sleep. So that potential. I mean, I feel like there's going to be a clear-cut winner on this one. When there's more of a debate, I feel like, we're going to have to add a ninth because you can't have 8 voters. Like, who's the tiebreaker? So yeah, we have. Well, I guess Pete. When hockey's over, Pete will be back. But yeah,
I was literally brought on into the mix to be the tiebreaker. My vote is devalued by the second.
No, I mean, I feel like the panel is just loaded with credibility now, more so than it already had been.
Yeah, I mean, you didn't name shit bums after me, which I appreciate. But I mean, I'll be honest. I love #MyManager. This guy does not know a Ketchup when he sees one.
You don't think that Alex Cora knows Ketchup?
Well, it was like 6-1 last time. He was on an island. He was on AC Island.
He was ahead on Connor Wong.
Yeah, I mean, Connor Wong, he deserves some recognition. But anyways, I'm going to get into the numbers for you, Coley, so that we can make a uniformed team decision here. Leading the charge in batting average, Masataka Yoshida hit .529 in this series. Jarren Duran hit .500 in this series. Justin Turner hit .444 in this series. And then Alex Verdugo with the walk-off home run hit .385. How do you say it? Emmanuel Valdez's name? It's Emmanuel? Emmanuel. Emmanuel?
Yeah.
Oh, who said that?
Jake did.
You fucking idiot.
Tristan Casas hit .308 in this series. So a lot of everyone's hitting over 300. Then you get to the OPS. Masataka Yoshida, 1556 OPS. Jarren Duran, 1433. Alex Verdugo, 1313. Justin Turner, 1029. And Manuel Valdez, 968. Devers, 863. So the fucking packets, dude, are going to be out the ass in this series. Leading the charge with hits, Masataka Yoshida, 9. Turner, 8. Duran, 6. Devers, 5. Verdugo, 5. Connor Wong, 5. Home runs, Connor Wong, 2. Should have been 3. Masataka Yoshida, 2. Arroyo, 1. Devers, 1. Verdugo, 1. Valdez, 1. Duran, 1. RBI, Yoshida, 8. Next best, Devers, 4. Valdez, 4. Duran, 3. Extra base hits, Verdugo, 4. Wong, 4. Yoshida, 4. Total bases, Yoshida, 17. Wong, 13. Verdugo, 11. Turner, 10. Duran, 10. I feel like this is a no-brainer, so I feel like we're going to be talking packets here. I mean, Verdugo, packet. Duran, packet.
Multiple packets.
Wong, packet. Turner, packet. Devers, packet. Valdez, packet. Arroyo, packet. I mean, I don't even think we need to put it to a vote. Coley, I mean, come on.
Yeah, I mean, it's obviously Winkowski. You got to win and save those first 2 games. I appreciate the build-up there, so we could talk about the real star of the series, which is the Winkster.
Big Wink.
No, but I mean, this is what I can't stand with you analytics dweebs. You're just talking numbers, and all great numbers, by the way. Love how the boys are swinging it. Games 3 and 4 were bloodbaths. Like the Orioles, we reached into the birdhouse, we cracked its head, we sold it to a blind kid. Like that.
The Blue Jays, wrong bird. You said Orioles.
Yeah, listen, we beat them earlier this year. It's like all the birds. Every bird this year. The Cardinals are sickly. They've got the avian flu. The birds are not doing well as we look up at the Orioles in the standings. But games 1 and 2 really did come down to the wire. I feel like those performances need to be weighed more than just like single packets of ketchup. And Verdugo also talked a lot of shit about their ace or their number 2 earlier this year, unprovoked also, and backed it up.
Yeah.
Were you?
That weighs a lot.
Were you upset that he walked it back a little bit before the game, where he was like, "I still stand by what I said, but I want to have a conversation with them"? Like, do you feel like it took the edge off a little bit?
I don't know why. Like, of all the people to have a problem with it, he seems like the last person. I don't know if this was like an Alec versus Alex thing.
I think Verdugo, what he's so great about is it's always celebrating with his, like, when he hits the walk-offs and he throws his arms, he's always like facing his dugout. And he's like celebrating with them. But Noah's cussing out fucking Franchi and Delbeck, who, like, they're limited. They're limited on the baseball field. We know they're incapable. They're AAA baseball players.
Come on.
Especially Bobby Delbeck.
For the Yankees, you show some respect to the face of.
That's a AAA ball club last time I checked. You can't bully those kids.
Wong can't just get a single packet. I mean, this guy, he needs like not a full jar either. He needs something in the middle.
Like they give those like at Wendy's when you like peel it open, like the dip sauce. Yeah. There's definitely way more ketchup in like a peel off plastic container than there is in a packet.
A dipper.
But it's not a bottle either. Yeah,
I think there's someone we haven't mentioned.
Who?
Chaim Bloom. This was such a massive series for Chaim Bloom. From Josh, right? Like, you go from Josh Winkowski to Masataka Yoshida, Connor Wong, Emmanuel Valdez. Like, I think Lou was the one who said it. Chaim Bloom put his fucking nuts on a lot of people's fucking forehead today.
Yeah.
Or really the last couple days. If we're giving packets out to all his, disciples, all his guys, they got to, give him a bucket. He's the one who brought him here.
Is Chaim Bloom going to win Executive of the Year, Tyler?
Listen, for the Bluminati group, that would be a major win. It feels good as one of those people. I think this was the best Chaim Bloom, kind of week since probably the 2021 playoffs.
Fair.
I mean, I love where Tyler's head's at. I want to give TC some ketchup too. I know he's on the panel now, but I mean, he put Shaughnessy in a body bag.
He did. Yeah, he did. That was he got Shaughnessy to bend the knee. Did you see the tweet?
No, I didn't.
Oh, so this was after the game tonight.
Yes.
Dan Shaughnessy tweeted, Tom is correct here, of course. The Sox are scalding. Have vaulted from last to third in less than a week. Relentless offense. Should be a great weekend for Boston and Philly. And I don't know how much of that is sarcasm, because you never know with Dan. Most of it. So TC sent his vote in with a voice note. I'm gonna try and play it right now.
Hey, it's TC, and that hum you hear is the Boston as the Red Sox get ready to hit the road for Philadelphia, and I'll be joining them. But first, as I told you, the culmination of a career spanning more than 2.5 decades at NESN, my chance to tell you who my Klark's Ketchup MVP is for this series. It's got to be Masataka Yoshida. We live in the state of Massachusetts, everybody. 3 for 5 in this final game with another home run. He had tied a career high in hits in this game with the solo homer in the first inning, the first gut punch to Kevin Gausman and the Blue Jays, but he is on an absolute tear, the longest active hitting streak in all of baseball. But it's one thing to have a 14-game hitting streak. It's another thing to go 25 for 56 with 18 RBI in those 14 games. That's a 446 batting average. I was talking to Justin Turner about it after the game, and he said he's never seen anything like it. And Raffy Devers even said he does things that I can only imagine doing. And, of course, Raffy Devers is the best hitter on this team in the face of the franchise. So, again, you live in the state of Massachusetts. You got to give it to Masa Yoshida. And, I mean, even his interpreter proved his toughness. Got hit in the dugout by a line drive that hit the back of the wall and then hit his neck. Told me after the game, he's learned a new word, ricochet. So we're adding to the wealth of knowledge that Yoshida's interpreter has of the English language. It is all coming together. Masataka Yoshida has won a lot of great awards, guys, but none bigger than the Klark's Ketchup MVP.
That was incredible. What a performance.
Yeah, TC! Welcome to the panel. Tom Karen submitting his first vote for Klark's Ketchup Series MVP. It is Yoshida. Wow. Okay. All right. That was outstanding. That was outstanding.
That felt like a Nesson segment. Like I felt like he was in the middle of a broadcast.
Oh man. All right. So that's 2 votes Yoshida. We got TC and Lou Merloni. Coley, you voting for Josh Winkowski?
No, I mean, he just deserves recognition. You never give any love to the pitchers. And with a 4-game series, I think it's really hard unless you're just like dragging your nuts all over the place, like the Winkster was, getting saves, becoming an illustrious member of the One Save Club. My favorite running bit that Red Sox stat says. But yeah, I mean, my take is I don't think if we keep winning series and Yoshida keeps the hitting streak going, I don't know that it can be anyone else.
Okay, so that's 3 votes Yoshida. Will Fleming of WEEI was on the radio broadcast tonight with Lou Merloni. He sent in a text message vote because he's on the team plan. He said they were bumping music, so he couldn't send a voice note. He said packets for Verdugo, Wong, Duran, Winkowski, Bernardino, and Schreiber. Schreiber was not mentioned. That was the first mention of Schreiber. He said, but I'm hiking my pants up to my neck and voting for the motherfucking Macho Man, Masataka Yoshida. And then he adds, I also want to give Jake a packet for a textbook sweep. So Jake with his first ketchup packet. How's it feel, Jake?
Yeah, I mean, coming from Will, it obviously means a lot. I met him for the first time at Fenway last Friday, and he came up to me and he was like, "Oh, what's up, Jake? You thinking sweet?" So that was pretty funny. So yeah, thanks for the packet, Will.
Okay, so and then
I mean, if we're giving out more packets, if we're trying to nominate other guys, I mean, someone here lowered their ERA this series.
Hey, Coley, come on, tell the people. I mean, I'm not going to vote for myself out there, but I mean, Jesus Christ.
I mean, I'm not voting for you. I'm saying packet.
Yeah, no, I feel like I deserve a packet for that performance, and that was high pressure, high intensity. I'm in there with Wakefield. I'm in there with Uke, and we get that final out, and the boys popped. I mean, I will say that video. It I don't know who. All right, so I'll ask Coley this because I feel like you are probably a good barometer for the answer to this. So I get the final out. I stand up. I pump my fist. I go for the high five to Uke. I go for the high five to Wake. And then I go for the high five to OB. And he turkeyed me. And people were like, oh, that's on you for not adjusting. And I was like, if I start with high fives, then you're the third guy in line, then you got to go high five there. That's who is that on? Whose fault is that?
Oh, I don't think it was a fault. I think he put you in a box.
You think he dunked on me there?
Yeah, I mean, we know how much OB loves box, and I think he put you in one.
I think that's fair. I mean, I personally didn't know. Like, I'm not going to push back and argue with you. I didn't know. My stance was that if I start high five, then you've got to match high five. But I mean, he went for the fist bump, and that's on me for not adjusting. So
that's why if you would let off with that, it's a different story. But he knew you had already given out 2 high fives, and he was like, "You're in my fucking booth, pal."
Yeah, that's fair. That's very fair.
Jared, do you have a statement on what you said while you were in there? Who you addressed and Mr. Pat Light? You said some awful things.
Listen.
You talk about unprovoked.
Jesus.
Just dunking for what is Pat doing?
The law of averages. You're going to go down. You would think that. It's a better ERA than what Pat Light was for. Good friend of mine, Pat Light, former Red Sox reliever. What do you have? Terrible pitcher. It was like 27, something like that.
You just going,
That is bad. Yeah.
That is PU.
When I can't even remember how the conversation started, but they had you guys have been talking about your ERA for too long. I was like, I know how bad you want to bring up Pat Light right now. And then when Uke was like, ERAs can only go down, I was like, well, there. It's more on Uke if we're really going to break it down.
He walked me into that one. Like, my ERA was 18 to start, and I was like, I know I'm not in the 20s. like I know a guy who is. So you can only push me so far on my ERA before I start citing other examples that are way worse, aka Patrick James Light, the king of shit ERAs. Apparently he talked about it on his business podcast, which I was like, that's not business. No, I thought that maybe when we were talking in the group text about the podcast that he would say, listen, I want to pop in and defend myself for that. He didn't even respond. He did not even text in the group text. We have since spoken privately, to which I did apologize. I said, listen, that was too far. Like, I don't know. I was under fire because I knew that if the Red Sox gave up runs, that everyone was going to blame me for it. And I had to put the flame on someone else. So, like, who better than Pat Light to just eat some bullets out of nowhere?
I think the most insulting part is you're on the Red Sox broadcast and you have to remind people he played for the Red Sox. Like
It has to hurt to hear you not even know who you are. Just be like, Jesus Christ.
Unfamiliar.
Yeah. Yeah.
Was it the 80s? Jim, did you see him?
Did you see him? Oh, poor Pat. But he did reach out and he was like, 27, really? I was like, Pat, like, sorry, 23 sounds any better? He was like mad that I said 27. And I was like, bro, it's not that much better. It's like 23.36 or something like that. We have another vote submitted by our manager, Alex Cora. And I asked him for his submission, and he just sent back a GIF of fans from the World Baseball Classic waving the Japanese flag. So that is a vote for Hideki Okajima, which I did not see coming.
Former teammate.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. They won a championship together in 2007. So that seems, I don't know, a little biased, but that is what? 3 votes Yoshida, 1 Okajima.
I mean, 0 ERA in the series if we really want to get in the weeds here.
100%. I mean, he hasn't been touched. So that is that's those votes. And now we can go to the original panel here. Coley submitted Yoshida. Tyler, who you have?
I'm no fool. It's Masataka Yoshida.
It is Masataka Yoshida. You're correct. Jake, who do you have?
It's just insane that, like, in a span of 3.5 weeks, it went from I basically have no confidence at this guy on the plate to, like, if he doesn't get a hit, I'm shocked. So yeah, gotta go Yoshida.
Okay. And I feel like I'm gonna have to go Masataka Yoshida here. So have we had a unanimous in a while? I feel like it's been a bit.
It's even different with the bigger set, though. Like, with all these people agreeing on one, it's one thing when it was just us 4. But even then, we didn't agree on anything.
There was a guy in a 4-game series. There was a guy who hit 500 in the series and did not win. Think about how good you have to be to do that. So congratulations. Masataka Yoshida is your Klark's Ketchup Series MVP for the 4-game sweep against the Toronto Blue Jays. Wow. First time with the new panel. A unanimous vote. That has to be history right there.
Are we going to get a graphic with, like, all the faces again?
I hope so. Right?
Need it.
Need it. Yeah, people are going to be stoked when they find out about this panel. And it is expanding. Like, I'm gonna hopefully hear back from Uke tomorrow. And
do we have a limit here? Are we going to draw the line?
Yeah, we'll draw the line.
What's the number? What are we at?
We're at, if Uke comes aboard, that's 9.
Can't go past 10.
Can't go past 10, but I did ask Chaim to join the panel.
Oh, man.
Anything?
He was probably like reading the fucking dictionary, dweeb. he didn't answer because he's probably reading the thesaurus. So,
what about this? And maybe not the best week to start it. The winner of the previous catch-up votes.
I don't know that I could get a direct line to Masataka Yoshida, if we're being honest.
That's why I said it's not the best week. I mean, I was watching post-game today. You know who doesn't get a packet is Yoshida's translator. That guy is making shit up left and right.
Okay, Coley, did you see when they asked him about him getting hit with the ball? He started asking it to Yoshida. Like, the translator got smacked with the baseball, and Karen's like, "Oh, are you okay? Like, how did it feel to get hit?" And he starts asking Yoshida the question. Like, the question's directed at you. It's not for Yoshida.
They asked him a question about Devers, and you could tell Yoshida, like, he's definitely translating the question to Yoshida. I don't want to say he's not doing his job. He's doing that part. But after that, I think he clocks out. I don't think he's given us the real answers.
We'll ask Ben Verlander if he can interpret whether or not it's accurate.
I do think the 10th person should be a player. We need to find someone on the team who can serve this role.
But like I said, if you bring in someone on the team, then you're basically insulting them by saying, well, you're never going to win it. So do you want to vote?
You don't have to frame it that way. We need someone
I'm
who's
not saying you don't have to
enough.
frame it that way, but that's how it would be interpreted.
Well,
I think Christian Arroyo should be given a chance.
And that's the exact fucking reason why it's like, well, I mean, if you're not playing all 4 games, which he didn't, then you're like, well, you're not an everyday player right now. So do you want to vote for the fucking Ketchup award?
Hey, he had a homer in this series.
He did hit a homer in the series, but he's not playing every day because of Valdez. So I feel like it's a slight.
We thinking Mondesi?
Yeah. You know what? I bet like maybe Schreiber would vote.
I think a reliever is a good call.
Yeah.
Or
the Matt Barnes route.
Yeah, Matt Barnes has voted before. I don't know. I mean, like I could ask, like, Tanner Houck. We have a good rapport, but he's not super responsive digitally. But he'll talk to me every time that I see him. Cutter Crawford is an option. I feel like Schreiber is another option. Okay. I'm looking at like the Verdugo walk-off home run. Like, who was the most pumped up? It was John Schreiber. Am I wrong?
I feel like Verdugo's pretty jacked.
No, I'm saying like he hit the walk-off home run into the Red Sox bullpen of the relievers. Sure, yeah. Like, who was the most jacked up? It was John Schreiber. I feel like Schreiber would be a great guy to get a vote.
I hate to say it, but who was number 2? Ryan Brazier had the biggest smile I've ever seen on that man's face. It was crazy. I was creeped out, if anything.
I mean,
but he was happy.
I'm looking for a little more stability in my panel. Like, I want a little more.
Caleb Bort.
I don't know that he's watching the games in Worcester.
Oh, they don't have TVs down there?
Well, he's fucking playing for the Woo Sox. How can he be watching the Red Sox?
Oh, yeah, I forgot.
Do you think he's going home and watching Soxin too?
Maybe. Maybe he misses his teammates.
I don't think he does. He's probably really upset.
Well, if we checked in with Duvall while he's on the IL?
I don't have a relationship with him. Seems like a good guy, like
though. He's our hitting coach.
Yeah. I forgot to tell that story from Friday, Jake, when we were standing by the dugout and the Red Sox were taking batting practice, and then out of nowhere, Adam Duvall just pops up from the Red Sox dugout, and he's got the Evo shield on his elbow. He's got the cast on his wrist. He had a helmet on, and he just like walks out with a bat. We were like, what the fuck is this guy doing? And like, he just like walked up to like wait to see if anyone noticed. And they were like, what? And then he's like, yeah, I'm just fucking with you. But I think he did he stand in for someone? Like, I saw pictures of him in like the Red Sox bullpen, like in the batter's box. Was he just like swinging with his top hand, or was he just standing in to like see live pitching. I don't know, but
I hope he was taking a hack from the bullpen. That'd be so funny.
I think he was if I were to guess, he was probably standing in just to see live pitching for like timing purposes and for hitters to be throwing like bullpen sessions with a hitter in the box. That would be my guess. But he did jokingly come out and with the Evo shield on, like he was gonna take BP. All right. Coley, you gonna stick around for a stop and shop, or are you gonna go to bed?
Yeah, I can look ahead.
Let's do a little fucking stop and shop look ahead. Brought to you by Stop and Shop. Head on down to Stop and Shop right now. Use the promo code Section10 only at the register. You cannot buy these tangerines online. You have to go into a Stop and Shop. Use the promo code Section10 to get 10 cents off each one of your tangerines only when you buy up to 5 pounds of tangerines at your local Stop and Shop. Okay. This is the Dombrowski Bowl. This is a series that I feel like some Red Sox fans have had circled for a little bit because of the Dave Dombrowski component to the Philadelphia Phillies. The Red Sox will be in Philly, as you know, because some of the voters for the Klark's Ketchup Series MVP could not call into this program because they were on the team plane flying to Philadelphia as we speak. It is Chris Sale versus Zach Wheeler, Corey Kluber versus Bailey Falter. That sounds like a fake person. This game's on Fox. That's stupid. 7-17 game on Saturday. Tanner Houck versus Taiwan Walker is the series finale on Sunday, 1:35 p.m. The Philadelphia Phillies are 15-17 this season. Zach Wheeler, very good. Very good. 3-1 with a 3.86 ERA, a 1.22 whip, and an 11.3 strikeouts per nine. He is having a better season than his ERA would tell you. He has a 2.53 FIP so far, which would be a career best. He's only allowed one home run in 32 2/3 innings, which is very impressive. He's the benefactor of great run support from the Philadelphia Phillies, who have scored at least 5 runs for him in 4 out of his 6 starts. The walks have been a little weird with him this year. He's allowed 3 in 3 separate starts and then 2 total in his other 3 starts, which is odd. 18 strikeouts in his last 2 starts, which is 12 innings pitched and only 3 earned runs allowed. So he is hot right now. His baseball savant page, Tyler, it looks like the Red Sea. It is.
I love me some Zach Wheeler.
Yeah. No velo drops for Wheeler this year. He's using his sinker as his number 2 pitch instead of his number 3 pitch. The slider has dropped to 16% usage from 27%, with part of that going to the sinker and his newly introduced, wait for it, everyone's got one now, the sweeper. His sweeper and his slider both have a 41% whiff rate, which is pretty fucking good. His four seam has been his best pitch this year, 95.8 miles per hour, 200 expected batting, 282 expected slug, 251 weighted on base, expected weighted on base, and a 35.5 whiff percentage. The Phillies are 4-2 in his starts this year, and they've won his last 3 straight. Red Sox hitters, 246, 313, 439, 3 homers. One of those homers belongs to Justin Turner, who is 4 for 8 with a homer and a 1375 OPS against Wheeler. Bailey, Falter, this guy is not real. This guy is a fake person. This is already a win for the Red Sox. He's 0-5 with a 5.01 ERA, a 1.33 whip, and a 6.1 K per 9. This guy sucks. Allegedly, he's pitched 84 innings last year. Never heard of him. He's a lefty, allegedly. His statistics suck. 36 hits, 18 earned runs, 6 home runs in just 32 1/3 innings. He is the opposite of Wheeler in terms of being a good pitcher and getting run support. He's getting 2.02 runs per game of support. If he gives up more than one run in a game, the Phillies lose. His starts, 2 earned run, loss, 1 earned run, no decision, 5 earned run, loss, 3 earned run, loss, 3 earned run, loss, 4 earned run, loss. He mostly throws a 4-seam fastball 53% of the time, curveball 25% of the time. Neither pitch is good. His 4-seam is 90.4 miles per hour, expected batting of 300, 14% whiff rate. Curveball, .296 average, .704 slug, 15% whiff rate. This guy sucks. The Phillies are 1-5 when he starts a baseball game. So I mean, there's no real history of any guys besides fucking Tapia who's seen this guy. Taijuan Walker
also sucks.
He sucks. 2-2 with a 6.91 ERA, a 160 WHIP, and a 9.1 strikeouts per nine. After 2 good years with the Mets, he is off to a rough start in Philly, mostly due to the home run issues. He's already given up 7 in 28 2/3 innings. He's allowing 2.2 home runs per 9 innings after only allowing 0.9 and 1.5 in his last 2 seasons. He's allowed 6 home runs in his last 3 starts, including 3 in his last start. That was against the Dodgers. 3 1/3, 8 hits, 8 earned runs, 3 walks, 6 strikeouts, 3 bombs. He's had 3 decent starts this year, but all against bad teams, the Reds twice and the White Sox, so that doesn't even really count. His 3 bad starts have been against good offenses, which would be the Dodgers. I wouldn't consider the Yankees to be a good offense, but maybe they had Judge at the time. And the Mariners. He's walked 2 batters in every start this year, including 3 twice and 5 in 1 outing. 17 walks in 28 2/3 innings. That is fucking horrendous. His splitter first, that's his go-to, 93 miles an hour, and then he's got the 4-seam and the sinker. Doesn't have many breaking pitches, 17% usage with the sweeper and the curve. The Phillies somehow are 3-3 when he takes the ball. Red Sox hitters don't historically have great numbers against him, but you've got Justin Turner, 5-17, couple doubles, a homer, 922 OPS, and then Kike is 1 for 2 with a double. A couple notes here on Chris Sale. His last 6 starts go horrible, decent, horrible, incredible, horrible, very good. So mixed bag. Red Sox are still somehow 4-2 in the games that Chris Sale has pitched this year. In the 2 losses, he's allowed exactly 5 earned runs. So more or less, that's, we'll take that. Phillies hitters, Castellanos has no success against Chris Sale. 47 plate appearances. He's hitting 154 with 18 strikeouts. This is so the Phillies as a team are 7 for 45 against Sale, but like most of that is Nick Castellanos striking out 18 times. Jesus. Corey Kluber, last 2 starts, 2-0, 11 innings, 10 hits, 4 earned runs. Okay, 10 strikeouts. Hitters just 227 against the Klubot. Red Sox are 2-4 when he starts, though. The Phillies have seen him pretty well. Castellanos again, 13 for 48, couple doubles, 18 strikeouts, but basically a 600. It's 598 OPS. And then Tanner Houck. We talked about it earlier. If he doesn't figure out the 3rd time through the order, then that will probably be bullpen for him. But the only time he has allowed more than 3 earned runs was his last start, which we talked about, the 6 earned runs in the 1 inning. Red Sox are 5-1 when he pitches, so that's a good thing. He also gets 8.64 runs of support, Tanner Houck. Phillies hitters 3 for 6 with 2 strikeouts. So I mean, it's not a big sample size there. All right. Prediction time. Coley, I'll let you go first so you can go to bed. It is after midnight somehow. I don't know how the fuck that happened. The game started at 6 and it's after fucking midnight doing this podcast. I don't know how that happened. Again, Chris Sale versus Zach Wheeler, Corey Kluber versus Bailey Falter, and Tanner Houck versus Taijuan Walker. What do you got, Coley?
I think the city of Boston goes 4-1 against Philadelphia this weekend.
You say what?
4-1.
4-1?
Yeah.
Can you walk me through that?
Yeah. The Celtics are playing the 76ers like 17 feet from where the Red Sox will be playing the Phillies. And they're not losing any games. So yeah, I think like Schwarber single-handedly will win one of these games, and it'll piss me off, but that'll be it. Like I don't like how many more series does this have to happen until the Red Sox are viewed as like the top 10 team in the league?
Good question. All right.
The Phillies haven't been good. Like they genuinely haven't. I feel like the Dodgers just push this shit in.
They did.
I'm not terribly concerned about this day. Like, I can see Ty Walker like having a random weird start where he's good and not like horrible, because that's kind of how his whole career's gone. But yeah, I'm just genuinely not concerned. I wish Bryce wasn't playing. I don't care for that. But other than that, like, yeah, this team's, they don't play defense. Like, it's wild that we're the better defensive team here, like by a lot.
Bryce Harper just went 3 for 3 with 2 walks, was on base 5 times against the Dodgers on Wednesday.
Yeah, that's what I mean. I don't need that.
So, all right. So 2 out of 3.
Yeah.
Okay, Coley's got 2 out of 3. Tyler, what do you got?
I got a sweep.
A sweep?
I'm going to sweep. I think the Red Sox make it 9 straight.
Fucking God, Tyler. You wanted to go sweep in this series?
I didn't even think about it. It just came out.
Holy shit, dude.
I've learned from Jake. I've simply learned from Jake.
Okay,
And
all right.
I'm going to look at it. Listen, the Phillies have the 4th worst bullpen ERA. We're talking in Taijuan Walker and Bailey Falter are starting 2 of the 3 games. The Red Sox lineup is top 5 in every single offensive category. I think we got the bad Corey Kluber start against Toronto, so I think we're due for a good one. While the numbers weren't overall bad, he didn't have good stuff. He couldn't throw strikes. I think we get our first consecutive good Chris Sale starts. Tanner Houck makes it through, but I think the lineup is going to love hitting in Philly. I think Devers got hot in this last game. We're about to ride a little nice Devers hot streak.
You are drunk off positivity. Right
I'm sorry, I've arrived.
This guy is positively shit-faced.
I've been up for 20 hours.
Jesus Christ, dude.
I feel it. Have the balls.
I mean, listen. I'm going to Jake first because I don't know where he's going. I need to hear what Jake thinks about this series before I can really make a decision.
First time Jake doesn't pick a sweep.
Yeah, no, this one has sweep written all over it.
Yeah, really fucking does, Jake.
It's got a sweep written all over it, dude. I wasn't going to say it. I'm glad you had the balls to say it.
It's a fucking sweep. All right, I'm on the fence. I'm on the fence right now between.
What are you worried about?
I'm worried about Zach Wheeler.
Scary.
Because he is the guy that is pitching the first game. And I think he has the ability to shut down the Red Sox offense. And if you kind of shut them down in the opener, does that kind of, I don't want to say like get them in a funk in games 2 and 3? I don't know. So
can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
What happened the last time the Red Sox faced 2 aces or front of the rotation guys? I just saw Alek Manoah and Kevin Gausman.
I was about to tell you what happened.
Continue.
The same thing that happened in that series
is what is about to happen in this series. The Red Sox are going to sweep the Philadelphia Phillies, and it is going to be a 9-game winning streak for your 2023 Boston Red Sox. That is a goddamn fact. This would have been the perfect time to end the podcast, but I forgot to do the last read. So baseball season is rolling. It's the best time of the year, and there are games all day, every day. And when I'm watching all the games and recording all these podcasts every week, it can be tough to get a handle on it all. But thanks to Xfinity 10G Network, I can stay on top of everything. With Xfinity 10G, you can power an entire house full of devices with ultra low lag. Coley, you have Xfinity 10G, right?
No, they don't have that in Maine.
That's true. They have no internet in Maine. Tyler has it. Jake has it. I have it. Coley, there's no internet in Maine, but if you ever come back to Boston, we'll get you hooked up with some Xfinity 10G network so you and everyone that you know can stream every single game at the same time and never miss a pitch. And if you're on the go, see, this is you, Coley. Xfinity has your back with millions of Wi-Fi hotspots. I don't know if they're in Maine yet, but we'll work on it if not.
Introducing the next generation 10G network only from Xfinity. The future starts now. Learn more at xfinity.com/10G. All right. Does everyone except for Coley has a sweep?
100%.
Coley's got 2 out of 3. Everyone else has a sweep. It feels like a textbook sweep. If you are new to the podcast, this is your first time listening, we appreciate you tuning in. Welcome to the party. We're going to be doing these podcasts after every single series. If this is your first podcast on the phone, that's Coley Mick. He actually started the podcast back in 2018, and we've just kind of been carrying it on in his honor ever since. So, by the way, thank you, Coley, for creating a platform for us to talk Sox on.
Yeah, no, I mean, I do it for the kids.
Yeah.
Did you get like a huge influx of new listeners? What even was that?
Yeah, I mean, like there were a fuck ton of people that were tweeting us after the series was over, being like, "Can't wait for the podcast," because I mean, the Sox are hot right now, and you got to figure the Bruins getting eliminated. The Red Sox haven't lost a game since the Bruins got eliminated. There's got to be that crossover of like, all right, I'm going to start to pay attention to the Red Sox now. So lo and behold, I'm going to get the numbers. I'm anticipating this being the most downloaded podcast that we've had.
What are the Bruins?
Yeah, exactly. All right. We'll be back on Sunday at the conclusion of this Red Sox Phillies series, in which everyone except for Coley has it going down as a sweep. Long live the winning streak. Long live Masataka Yoshida's hitting streak. And long live the Boston Red Sox. We'll see you on Sunday.
Buenas noches, amigos.